Howdy, y'all. How are you doing today? I hope you're all doing really good. It's good to see you. I know we don't have a billion people in here yet, but hopefully we'll get more sooner rather than later. I can sit here and chit chat with you for a little bit before it's time. You got corn, yum. I love corn. Corn is yummy stuff. Corn on the cob, or corn in a bowl, or creamed corn, or popped corn on the cob. Fuck yeah. Second best kind of corn, which is saying something. Raikuto, really? Which, actually, I don't want you to, like, give away any information about yourself here that you're not comfortable giving information about which shooting, because there were, like, 4 over the weekend. There were, like, 4 mass shootings over the weekend. Sun's out, guns out, literally, I guess, because America. Buffalo. We talked about it. We talked about it yesterday. You don't remember? You were here. Yeah, I'm not surprised that he went there. He seemed genuinely upset about it. Hi! Hi, Batcave. Thank you so much for 2 months. I appreciate that so much.
Happy 2 months. I'm grateful to be here. You are amazing. Bless you, buddy. B2X Spider loses duck teddy bear.
What is happening?
James Rocks 18 cheered.
Why you do this to me? Stream Elements. I'm so sorry, guys.
Next row 86 Doxy, quick to answer this question. For science, what comes to mind when you hear the phrase rat dress?
Dress that a rat wears. A pretty rat lady. She wears a dress. Maybe it's a maxi dress. Thank you for all that support. Just right in a row there. That's so nice. Thank you. We got James Rocks with the biddies, Nexaro, and Batcave with the subs. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. We're very behind on subs right now, so every little sub makes my heart soar. I appreciate it so much. James Rocks, thank you so much.
James Rocks 18 cheer. Now batting for the Reds, James nice echo lol.
I think that I might have to take a day off tomorrow or the next day, or maybe Friday, to go through Streamlabs and fix stuff up. I've been collecting hilarious sound bites for raid messages, and I think that that's going to be very fun, and for like sub and dono and stuff like that. No problem, Moth. We're not going to talk about it again. Don't worry. Anyway, how's everyone? I got my nails done today. They look fucking great. Luckily, well, you'll be able to see them better when we switch to Crochet Cam. Luckily, they're long enough now, except for the 2 that had popped off, that it's basically my natural nails now, just with like a gel coating over the top, which is so much more comfortable. I can keep them shorter. I am so pleased. I think that I'm gonna keep going to this nail lady because she definitely knows like what kind of shape and stuff to do to my nail. Like she's awesome. I love her. She did such a good job twice in a row. Still no job, but you're on the list for when I do. I don't know what that means, but if you're talking about giving me money, I really don't want that to be like the prime, like I don't want that to be a focus of yours until you are taken care of for yourself. I understand that you've been searching for a job. Don't feel even remotely obligated to be giving anything to me until you are taken care of. And then give me all the rest of it. Just kidding. Thank you so much for the biddies. Why is this happening? I'm so sorry. Listen, Doxy, you're not capable of stopping me once I have the disposable funds. Oh, I will not even try to stop you. I just don't want you to feel guilty or anything for not being like super monetarily supportive yet as it is. Like I just think you're so great, and I don't want you to think that I don't think that. What do you call a man with no shins? Tony. That one's fun. Okay. What do you guys think? Are we ready for some SCPs and crochet? We're finally actually going to be starting on the lace pattern for our ballerina top. We still do have to finish the last strap, but we're like, tonight's the night. 100%. Yeah, no guilt. Got to get that budget in order. Absolutely. Absolutely. I want you to have nice stuff for yourself. I mean, I want you to do whatever you want. I'm not your dad. But just please, I don't ever want anybody to feel like they are less valuable or anything when they can't contribute monetarily. Just as long as if you're running an ad blocker, then that's kind of fucked up. But other than that, I'm reading for a message that's just a bunch of bananas. I don't know what you mean. Where did you find the crochet pattern you're working on? I don't know. Sometimes I just get high and I'll search free cute crochet top pattern, free cute crochet scarf pattern, free cute crochet bag pattern, etc., etc. And then like I bookmark the ones that I'm allowed to make on stream and sell, etc. I'm happy I got to get behind the wheel today. Big milestone. Is this the first time you've ever driven? That is a big milestone. I'm happy for you. It's very freeing being able to drive yourself wherever you want to go. It's the freedom is just nuts. It feels so good. Whenever you want to go somewhere, you can just go. You don't have to find somebody who's willing to take you. It's fucking sick. It's so dope. Or like look at bus schedules and like waste hours of your life waiting for a bus that may or may not come on time. You know what I mean? I'm very happy for you, Batcave, and proud of you. It's scary a little bit, right? It's scary to start. It's intimidating, but you'll do great. You will. Driving is so easy. Not to say that it isn't serious and you shouldn't give it the utmost respect that it deserves, but it's easy, and you will 100%. You'll knock it out of the park. I guarantee it. I just realized that chat isn't showing up on stream. Oh no. There we go. Banana would be horrible. Oh my god. Hilarious. If I may make a suggestion, it might be wise to have a background that doesn't flicker so much. Seems like it might cause a problem if someone has photosensitivity issues. You know, normally it's a lot smaller. We don't really use this one very much. I have to have something that hides my
James Rocks 18 cheered. I'm happy to give my money cause money is something just in case I don't die tomorrow. Easy come easy go. Love your stream.
Thank you so much for the biddies. Thank you. I don't know why the alerts are being so stupid. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway, here's the thing. And yeah, also when it's smaller like that, it's not it's not a photosensitivity risk. When it's bigger like that, it still isn't a photosensitivity risk as far as what I promise that I have made the proper research and stuff for that. I have two family members that have photosensitivity in regards to epilepsy, and both of them said that it was fine for them. Oh, hi, Rory. Hi, Rory, kitty. Hi, Humanoid Void. Good to see you. How are you? All right. Let's get this show on the road, hey? I'm going to pause the music. I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Quick sip of water. Oh, yeah. And then we're going to get this fucking show on the road here. Get this out of here. He's talking back to the TV. It's fucking adorable. Rory! Kitty. Who's the handsomest little boy? Oh my god, somebody named themselves Fart Slide.
Fart Slide Sparkler, I hope you are having a nice day. Doxy, love, Doxy, love.
Thank you so much. Oh my god, I haven't had a fan account in years. I am so touched by that. You have no idea. What did your name used to be, Fart Slide? Oh my goodness. Oh, that makes me so happy. Also, today is a day for smoking. I have not been smoking. Today is a day for smoking. I cannot believe that I have a fan account here right now. And only one more month to baby Fart Slide is true. A diaper slide. No what? Oh no. Dropped your hook behind the couch. Shattered. Devastating. A fatal blow. I am so sorry to hear. I mean, it's gone forever now. Now you have to fucking order a new one. Well, it's just, it's cruel fate. Cruel fate. Are you guys excited to do some more SCPs? Another friend lost to the void. Indeed. Aw, that sucks so hard. Hi, Azuma. How are you? It's good to see you. Excuse me. Gosh. My, what's it called? My allergies have been really bad. We're making some very not cute noises with the sinuses. Fuck. Hell yeah. Okay. Doxy, do you think you could survive endless IKEA? What's infinite? What is that? I would be happy. I would die happy if I couldn't survive. I fucking love IKEA. I fucking love IKEA. I could walk around IKEA all day. I could do it and not get sad about it. As long as I'm allowed to sit. Is an SCP where it is an endless IKEA without an exit? Well, I mean, nobody could survive it without food and water, hey? I feel like as long as there was food and water there, I would be fine. Like, definitely, I feel like I could survive it. No. That SCP is a terrible situation. What, is it just procedurally generated IKEA? I don't know. I don't know enough. You guys know infinitely more about ICP or ICP fucking IKEA than I do. SCP, not IKEA. Jeez Louise, I haven't even fucking lit it yet. What is my deal? You guys know infinitely more about SCPs than I do. Fuck. That is what I was trying to say for 20 fucking years. Hey, no, don't laugh at me. I was looking at the letters SCP, and also we have a huge ICP fan in chat that talks about ICP a lot. So another streamer talked me into playing Final Fantasy XIV online. I've only played a few hours and I'm hooked on my super cute character. Yeah, that's how they get you. That's how they get you. Who's that? Oh, stop it. Okay. Okay. Can I just get 3 readies in chat and we will hit the fucking road, Jack? And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Fun fact, there's a special purple toy that's also a SCP. It vibrates and drills you to death. Another die happy SCP, you know? Okay. That was definitely more than enough readies. We're gonna get to work here. Oh, we watched this one already. Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Come on in. Don't mind the dust.
Excellent.
I know this is a bit unexpected, but isn't it always a pleasant surprise I bring you? Go ahead, take a good look around. We won't get to visit much more after tonight. We're on Foundation territory, and I only have this one occasion to give you a tour. This year, when I asked the doctors to oblige my request for the annual October tradition of the SCP Vault, they responded with a discovery from a few summers ago they'd been keeping in mind for me. Not just something safe to share, but a total fascination that even they enjoy. We're standing in a now abandoned movie theater, but its downfall came just months after hosting the premiere of the unauthorized director's cut of SCP-1955, Spleen Eaters from Venus. After that premiere, this theater became an item itself, still awaiting classification, but with an effect that seems to be in relation to the intent behind SCP-1955's creation, an enduring legacy for the director and studio behind Spleen Eaters from Venus.
Don't they look great? I'm really pleased with them. The lady who does them is so good.
Entire history of movies by the same man and studio, and those films simply don't exist outside the building. They're completely real in here, but were never actually made. All of them are similar in quality and style to SCP-1955, and just like that first film, they share a commonality.
Thank you.
Every film
Fireslide, I want to know what your name used to be. I want to know who you are.
They appear as actual items with stories of their own that deviate from the film adaptation. Every movie that's played
guys.
Here is anomalous, and it creates an SCP entry
I'm
that
really
acts as the
happy with
film's source material. We're spending the night in an abandoned movie theater that makes 1950s era shock films and fake SCP objects at the same time. Now you probably understand why I was given clearance. We'll be discussing nothing the Foundation is actually concerned about, because the secrets shared are junk entries anomalously written to the database, cataloged in a side archive, and then promptly deleted. They've tried to find a way to fix it, but ultimately decided it's smarter to keep cataloging what's created in the offhand chance they need a record.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to assume. You're just constantly, like literally multiple times per stream,
now, I can't
quoting
exactly
ICP.
Show you these films. I've been told
so I totally thought you were right. I definitely
class personnel sent here for a showtime.
I'm sorry.
But I am allowed to show you the posters that show up whenever a new movie's generated, so we're going to have some fun anyway. First, let's take a look at the case that started it all. SCP-1955, Spleen Eaters from Venus. Created in a redacted year from the 1950s, this is a terrible science fiction film released by
I wonder if he got that commissioned. That
According to
poster
SCP
art,
Archives,
it's beautiful.
The plot centers around the eponymous organ-consuming aliens and the efforts of American suburbanite Buck Johnson to stop them. SCP-1955 is similar to many low-budget science fiction films from the 1950s, with viewers generally criticizing the action, special effects, and sets as being of low quality. SCP-1955's anomalous properties manifest whenever any subject views at least 30 minutes of footage from SCP-1955 continuously. After the effect is triggered, viewers suffer from a permanent perception disorder. Any fictional narrative viewed is perceived to be a low-budget science fiction film from the late 1940s to early 1960s.
Well, I'm so excited that you've begun to chat. Please don't feel obligated to if it's uncomfortable for you.
With line delivery described as melodramatic or hokey.
But man, you have truly, my heart grew 3 sizes on this day. You have truly made my day.
Replaced with actors in costumes, high-scale 3D effects replaced with Technicolor light tricks, and so forth. Plot elements of the film are altered so that they fit a science fiction narrative. For instance, a romantic comedy will be altered to include aliens, cryptids, or similar elements.
Y'all, I'm so sad.
Percent of films set outside the United
I am
States are altered
so sad that there's not going to be
usually in a suburban setting. Films in languages other than
any
English
more Ghost Adventures for
animated films and nonfiction
a whole season or whatever. Like the season just ended.
Viewers who have suffered
the season like just ended. There's not going to be new Ghost Adventures for such a fucking long time.
A foundation interview with one of the actors and Spleen Eaters from Venus.
I just feel like ghost stuff. I want to watch ghost stuff.
He barely said 2 words to anyone the whole time we were filming the movie, except to give us the most bare bones directions possible. Kept mumbling to himself about how this was his masterpiece, always drifting off into space. It was pretty disconcerting.
And it's my favorite one out of all of the shows is Ghost Adventures. I love all those guys.
The agent conducting the interview noted it didn't do well financially, and the actor responded,
like, I care about them a lot, which is stupid. I know it's parasocial of me.
The head of the production company threatened to cut his head off.
I care about that. I think that they're so great.
I never acted again after that, and as far as I know,
they're all very wholesome.
As for the director's reaction to the outcome, something snapped inside him, I think. I only saw him once after that. It was a few weeks after the premiere.
To think that show has been going since 2008. Yeah, I watched some
and when he answered the door, he looked like a
old episodes.
Eyes bloodshot red, clothes hadn't been washed
I watched some old episodes recently.
The actor reports the director didn't say much.
Zachary in particular looks so young.
His director's cut
and Aaron
said it was going to change the world of cinema.
I think Aaron's my favorite.
The actor didn't end up seeing the new
version. I think Aaron's my absolute favorite. It's so weird that like in the beginning he wasn't really a part of the show as much, but like he became more and more a part of the show.
The director did
and I'm so thankful.
Legacy. It just wasn't
I really love Dakota. He's kind of a like.
So, what else has premiered here?
Newish one. I swear that man does not age. Zach has aged a lot. He looks great. Like he hasn't aged. Like he doesn't look old, but he was so baby faced before. Also, James, thank you so much for the biddies. I appreciate you.
The approaches, but stop short as
listen to SCP Archives. Careless Binky, I'll do you one better. If you link that in the Discord, I will email them and ask if I'm allowed to listen to it on stream so we can all listen together.
Members of an alien race.
Yoga done? Hell yeah, Bardic Muse. I'm fucking proud of you. Do you feel good?
And preparing for a global takeover in the name of
I always feel amazing after yoga. I should do yoga tonight. I should do like bedtime yoga tonight. Y'all ever done bedtime yoga? That shit is.
Mr. Pickett and his boy embark on a perilous journey to get Bigfoot to Washington while dodging attacks by emerging squads of Sasquatch.
I know you say good morning in the Discord is my favorite thing. I have legit used that to find out what day it was.
Classic Sasquatch,
like more than once I have.
And they've evolved alongside humanity in secret after 95 to 99% of their species were eliminated by genetic disease in a mass extinction event. Only those with immunity manage to survive and reproduce in present day. The anomalous effect those survivors have is horrifying. According to the entry, hominid, including humans, chimpanzees, bonobos, and non-immune instances of SCP-1000 that directly or indirectly observes any instance of SCP-1000 has a minimum 2% chance of being instantly killed through anomalous means via permanent cessation of brain function. This percentage is cumulative, and the longer a human views SCP-1000, the higher the chance of instantaneous death increases, at a rate of +1% chance per 20 minutes of viewing. This effect varies between individual members of SCP-1000 species, with some individuals carrying a death chance of 90%. The effect is also produced by dead individuals, though small fur samples do not exhibit the effect. The highest known population concentrations of SCP-1000 are at present located in the Pacific Northwest region of North America and the Himalayan mountain range in Asia. SCP-1000's presence has also been documented within the past 5 years on every continent.
I've got
All known
several
significant
hours of my
population of
go-to SCP
SCP-1000
channel I'm
located
behind
near
on, so
human
that's going to
population
be a
centers
spooky
have
2
been
days.
eliminated.
Fuck yeah. Next hour. If you guys post these in the Discord, I'm willing to email them and ask if we're allowed to watch.
Yes. SCP-1000
I want
is
you guys
Bigfoot.
to be putting this
You think
stuff
Bigfoot
in
is
my
funny,
suggestions.
because we want you to think
a
Bigfoot is
hundo
funny.
p.
We've bankrolled Hollywood comedies and farcical
What you need,
documentaries.
their business email website or something. If you just link to where you listen, I can probably figure that stuff out. Hi, Forest Crawler. How are ya? Good to see you.
Media in 1958, a term people would find even harder to take seriously than Sasquatch. The information in the article that you've already read isn't entirely true. There are 2 direct lies and plenty of lies of omission. Director Jones goes on to write that there is no disease that's wiped out the Sasquatch. SCP-1000 also doesn't have any direct anomalous effect. It won't hurt you if you see it. We also lied about SCP-1000's intelligence level, Director Jones writes. SCP-1000 aren't chimp-level smart. They're smarter. To be precise, they are exactly as smart as us. But while we were still wandering hunter-gatherers, they changed. Like we would a few thousand years later. Tools, weapons, agriculture, domesticated animals, stable settlements. As humanity blinked in the Pleistocene sun, SCP-1000's population exploded across the night. They blanketed the planet in the tens of billions. They made things that we still can't comprehend, even though we've thoroughly studied the surviving pieces.
I'm sorry you're so busy unless you like that, in which case I'm so stoked that you have stuff to do.
Trains, bushes that became flying vehicles. From insects and pigeons, they made things equivalent to cell phones,
Your Highness, good afternoon.
computers, atomic bombs. We were rare, like gorillas now.
I just joined, so I'm new. Well, to the Discord. Yeah, you have to wait 10 minutes before. Sorry, it's so that we don't get a bunch of hateful assholes ruining the party. You know what I mean?
Bad children while they slept in daylight.
I get brigaded and stuff kind of a lot.
Populations in conservatories, outlawed poaching,
it's
but
what I get
underground
for
consumed our bones as aphrodisiacs.
bullying Tommy Loren
Then the
online.
civilization fell, and we did it. By we, I don't mean the Foundation. By we, I mean humanity. The story is muddy. Supposedly, a trickster force god showed humanity favor, showed us the Master's tools and how to use them. Why we did it, we don't know. Perhaps they hunted us. Perhaps we were simply afraid. Somehow we acquired SCP-1000's own technology, and with it, we instigated an SK-class dominance shift in which humanity became the dominant species of Earth. We wiped out 70% of SCP-1000's population.
Thanks for being chill
day.
about it. I know
Supposedly,
it's annoying.
Every flower bloomed that day, while our enemies died in their sleep.
The tales about
Then we hunted the rest down.
SCP-1000 are so much more
But we went
interesting
further
than the
than just
article
killing them.
itself. Yeah, I don't know.
With a few of the
I
more
like being
twisted
busy,
of
yeah, but these weeks have been
SCP-1000's
pretty
devices,
brutal.
we
Oh,
drove
I
the
hope it
survivors
calms
mad,
down for you
even
soon
those
then.
hiding beyond our
And
reach.
oh my god, by the
We
way, I'm
trapped
so
them in
sorry
our
that I
own
haven't
minds, blocking line
messaged you
functions
about
and
it
leaving
yet,
their bodies to
but
fend for
I'm trying
themselves like any
I'm trying
ordinary
to visit
We
the states
slaughtered their living machines
for the
and burned
4th
their vast shining cities.
for Independence
We
Day.
left no traces.
I'm trying to
not even
visit
our own
Iowa
memory.
specifically
We
for the
turned one of the
4th.
weapons on ourselves, wiped out any knowledge of
July.
SCP-1000 and the greatest civilization the planet had ever
because
seen. Only
family
a few
stuff
humans protected themselves
here
from the
in
effect,
Canada
kept
has
the forbidden
been
knowledge, just in case.
rough and busy.
The rest of us went back to being hunter-gatherers, none the wiser. You're going to read all about this in the Level 3 documentation, but I'll give you the short version here. SCP-1000 are somehow regaining their forgotten intelligence and knowledge. Maybe they never truly lost it.
I
We don't
do love
know.
I love 4th
This
of
is why
July.
the
I
ever-increasing
might
number
drink
of
beers
Bigfoot sightings
and
is so worrying.
make
Why
an
the
idiot of
attempts at
myself.
contact, however
I haven't
indecipherable,
drank.
are even more worrying. Yes,
I don't
SCP-1000
remember the last time I was
are
drunk.
just like
I
us.
don't remember.
That's what makes them so dangerous. We wiped them from
Hell yeah,
history
Quinn. I would be
and memory.
so stoked
We
if we could
dissolved
hang
their
out.
civilization
But no,
and we
like if you
slaughtered
can't make
most
it
of their
work, then
species.
please don't feel
Just ask
obligated
yourselves,
to like stress about
if they
it.
got the chance, what more would they do to us?
Hi, Kool-Aid.
Next
How
up,
are
something
you?
a bit more fun than that first
It's
tale.
so good to see you.
A double feature. Come and feast your eyes on the poster for Behold, Moon Champion. Premiering one morning in 1969 just after 5 a.m., the Foundation reports that this film is the
Kool-Aid,
tale
what
of
are
Hal
your
Caspian,
plans this
a sole
weekend, this
surviving
coming
astronaut in a
weekend?
deadly crash during Earth's first visit to the moon. Hal stumbles through the wreckage and tries to communicate with Earth, but finds his equipment malfunctioning.
I'll just...
With no way to properly assess
Could you
the
DM
damage from
me
inside,
and
he dons his
I'm trying to
spacesuit,
put
grabs an
together
American flag,
a
and takes his first steps, planting Old Glory and then surveying the
like
wreck. As he does so,
hangout
he's accosted by the antenna-bearing moon people, who encircle him and bring Hal to their leader.
Do
The
some
Moon King
Jackbox
informs Hal
stuff and
Caspian
whatever.
that their kingdom is under siege from the other moon people, who live on the dark side of the moon, and they need a mighty warrior to assist them in their struggle. In return for Hal's help, the good moon people
love my
will
new
personally
art?
fly
My
him back to
nails?
Earth and meet his leader to thank him for sending
Or are
the
you
only
talking
thing the dark
about
side kingdom fears, a barbarian from
the
the blue planet.
profile picture?
This film actually hits close to the anomalous source material entry.
Okay, yeah, that's
SCP-1233, an astronaut
that's
whose gear includes a propulsion jetpack that
just
works
from
like a science fiction dream.
newprofilepicture.com.
He calls himself Moon Champion and is virtually indestructible, having withstood ballistic fire and even being submerged in magma with no damage to the suit. The entry states, SCP-1233 is capable of communicating through a loudspeaker installed in its suit, and does so in a loud,
everybody should check out newprofilepicture.com. It's pretty sick. I'm sure that it's some sort of data farming thing. So if you're not okay with maybe that being the case, then probably don't. But all of my information is
or lacking discernible context.
Y'all, I'm a dox so much. There's no way that there's anything about me that's a fucking secret to governments
with sightings occurring only once per 4 to 5 years.
Even middling hackers.
Moon Champion always arrives with a bang, literally. He falls to Earth from an unknown height at terminal velocity, coming across
anybody
to the
that's
naked
okay
eye like a
with
shooting star,
having
and
their
then
data
crash
farmed.
lands, causing a minor localized seismic event and a sizable impact crater. In almost all cases, SCP-1233 has landed a moderate distance away from the outer limits of a population center, usually a small to mid-sized town with a population not exceeding 30,000. It will then climb out of the crater and travel toward the nearby town either via flight or on foot. Its route to the population center is usually not direct. SCP-1233 will frequently stop to engage in various activities, seemingly at random.
I wish my name was Moon Champion.
Inspecting various objects, such as farm equipment, buildings, and plants, standing still for variable amounts of time, chasing small insects, such as grasshoppers and butterflies, attempting to greet, converse with, or interrogate animals, such as livestock and birds, pulling up root vegetables or picking fruit from bushes and trees and pressing them forcefully into its closed visor in an apparent attempt to eat them, and marching directly into bodies of water, such as ponds and lakes. Upon reaching the town limits, SCP-1233 will engage in further activities which, due to its curiosity,
I've never heard of
extreme
Red
physical
Pool, no.
strength, and lack of understanding of human societal conventions, will generally result in civil unrest and destruction of public and private property. The entry then provides a transcript of events caught on a security camera as SCP-1233 enters a cafe. He approaches the 32-year-old man behind the counter, who is the cafe's co-owner, and says,
"Greetings, little girl. I am Moon Champion, champion of the moon, defender of space justice and destroyer
my
of
name
evil.
was Moon
I have
Champion.
come once again to your charming world to learn more of your strange culture, and to seek aid for my people in their ongoing war against the moon monsters. You appear to possess a vast wealth of the fabled nutrients and moisture for which this world is known throughout the galaxy. Are you the president of this planet?"
The man, Bob, bursts into laughter and offers Moon Champion a free cookie, who responds by thanking Bob for giving him a parakeet. It's noted that SCP-1233 rams the cookie into its unopened visor. The impact instantly destroys the confection and forcefully scatters crumbs in all directions.
"Delicious. I thank you, Lord President of Earth, for this generous gift, and may the light of justice forever shine upon your royal visage."
Bob continues to humor Moon Champion, and we learn that he's on a quest to find help in fighting the terrible moon monsters, who have besieged his people for countless millennia. It is his sacred duty as Moon Champion to conquer the moon monsters and save the Moon Kingdom. He's on Earth to see what assistance it can give him.
I was also able to get them shorter this time, which is so nice. I'm so happy about that.
Can withstand the vacuum
it's so much
of space.
more manageable.
I would like to befriend
I do
one
not like
and
having
name her
long
Moonpup
nails
and take her
at
with
all.
me on space adventures.
Thankfully, that visit did not end with Moon Champion introducing a puppy to G-Force. Instead, when he was satisfied with his conversation, he saluted,
not
turned
to
around, and
if
walked directly
other
through a
people like
concrete
the way
wall
that
in the
looks.
cafe.
That's super. It's a
There have
like
been unfortunate circumstances
a matter
resulting
of
from
like
Moon
what
Champion visits,
your
however.
preference is.
On October 5th,
It's not.
2017,
I don't think that
it
it's
was
like
reported that
bad
he crashed
taste
in
or
England
anything.
and
It's just
approached
not
a man asking
my
if he would help in the fight
taste.
against the moon monsters.
Ooh,
The man
Your
replied
Highness, don't mind if I
sarcastically,
do.
saying
Thanks
he
for
had his
looking out for
toothbrush
me.
packed and was ready to go
Mikey.
immediately.
Guys,
The entry
Mastro's
says that
here.
SCP-1233 responded,
Alas,
The bot messed
a
up? Oh, no.
warrior hiding in plain sight amidst these pastoral and bucolic humans. Let us away, fair meat fellow, and earn
Try the other one, Kool-Aid.
This day you brush your tooth among the stars. We fly!
The entity lurched forward and embraced the man, then activated its jetpack. The resultant sonic boom shattered every item of glassware within a 300-meter radius as 1233 accelerated to a projected velocity of 25,000 kilometers per hour within approximately 4 seconds,
Weird.
ascending into low orbit with the man in tow. Due to the unexpected timing of
Sorry.
this event, observational satellites were unable to properly focus upon 1233.
Oh, that's right.
during the
Yeah, I
early
don't know
stages
how
of
to
its exit
update
trajectory.
feature.
As such,
I
the human's
forgot. I
presence and status were
remember
unable
that
to
you
be
did
visually
something very
confirmed.
clever.
Tough outcome for that guy, but no use crying over liquefied human remains. Now, I did say this was a
What
double
games do you
feature,
still
right?
enjoy playing?
Let's
All the
proceed to the
same
second
and
half.
more. I love video
Beware,
games.
Sea
I just don't
Champion
love
is the
being a
companion
video
piece
game
that came
streamer.
out sometime after the premiere of Behold,
In case you're
Moon
wondering
Champion.
about my profile picture,
Its plot is as
it's an
predictable
ecstatic
and lazy as
rooster
you might
with human
imagine
teeth
for a
and says,
spiritual
"This
sequel to the
pleases
first
my
film.
cock."
Bud Corrigan is
I
captain of a new
haven't
submarine
seen
that's
it.
a
I
scientific
haven't seen
marvel,
your
capable of diving deeper than
icon
any
because
vessel before
with the
it.
way that
He and his crew sink into the
I
depths of the Atlantic,
view chat, I don't
rejoicing
get
over
to
the
see
radio as they
people's
drop lower
icons.
and lower, breaking the existing depth record and descending even further. Their party ends when a major light source fills the windows of the sub.
I can really only
blinding the
see
crew and sending
icons
them
when
into a
people
panic
do
as the whole
something
vessel
that
begins shaking. Everything goes
that
dark and the film transitions
shows
hard to a
on
new scene
the
with Captain Corrigan waking
activity
up on the floor
feed.
of a palace.
So
He
anytime
and his crew have been
somebody
captured by, that's right, the Sea People. And he's now in the throne
Hold
room
on,
of
I
the
will have
Sea
to look
King,
at it.
who wants Bud's help conquering a load of sea monsters threatening
anytime
the
somebody
kingdom.
cheers,
In return for his help, he'll
anytime
return the crew safely
somebody
and send them back to the
subs,
surface. Bud Corrigan steps into a heavily modified combat version
or
of his diving suit
resubs,
the Sea People took care of and goes off
or
to fight.
follows, or hosts.
This film produced SCP-4233, an amphibious humanoid entity of unknown origin and composition that exhibits potent anomalous properties and operates under an
Just those
unclear
things.
agenda. SCP-4233 physically resembles a human in a late 19th century diving suit, with a rigid copper helmet with glass viewing window and weighted boots.
There's a
However,
sea
SCP-4233's body plan is disproportionate and
There's
larger
a moon
overall than that of
champion
a
and a
baseline
sea
human.
champion.
The entity stands
Are
at
they
approximately
married?
2.5
Do they know
meters when
about
fully
each other?
upright, with an
Are they
exaggerated torso
friends?
supporting thick, oversized arms, resulting in a
Hi,
somewhat
Amethyst Scales.
simian
How are you?
appearance.
It's good to see you.
Each time it has appeared, SCP-4233 has carried a large stockless anchor, approximately 1.8 meters
Do you
in
think
length
they have
and
slumber
weighing an
parties?
estimated 550 kilograms.
Are they
This
mortal
anchor is thoroughly
enemies?
corroded and encrusted with barnacles, consistent with roughly 75 years of continuous exposure to a marine environment. It bears this item on its right shoulder, and to date has not been observed to use the object
James
for any
Rocks
discernible
18
purpose.
cheered. Cause your heckin' worth it.
4233 is
I like your
indestructible
heckin'
and
worth it.
unstoppable,
Thank you so
and his
much for the
appearances are
videos.
totally unpredictable, except for the very general behavior. The
No,
entry
it's okay,
states,
Az. No worries, no worries.
SCP-4233 emergence events begin with the entity walking
Nice.
out to sea and onto a beach or stretch of coastline, chosen apparently at random and with no regard for any civilian presence.
Okay.
Once on land, SCP-4233 will continue walking at a gradual pace, slightly less than 5 kilometers per hour, in a straight line, only altering its trajectory to avoid injuring civilians, animals, and large
I'm not
plants
gonna lie, I
such as
kinda gotta
trees.
poop.
It has not been seen to stop or change pace at any point, and will often simply walk through, and subsequently destroy, objects in its way, such as fallen logs, unattended vehicles, boulders, and abandoned buildings. It will continue on its set path and walk forward until it reaches the ocean, occasionally crossing entire continents over a period of months in order to do so. Upon reaching the coast, it will stop, set down its anchor, clap its hands together once, replace its anchor, then continue, walking into the sea until it disappears from view. A document added to the entry concerns an encounter with SCP-4233 from December of 2017. Sergeant Kendra Hill of Foundation Task Force Sigma-58 made radio contact, and the anomaly was actually quite receptive and polite, saying, "No friends in the air today. I receive you, Miss Hill, as I receive your superiors. It is a good day for a swim, I think." A line of questioning was met with vague answers, but enough information to inform Sergeant Hill that 4233 was aware of the Foundation's work. You've caught me with little time to spare. Words and boxes are your great loves, and all love should be respected. But words wash away from me, and I am my own box, such as it can be in time and tide. 4233 was asked where it was going and answered that it was headed back to the sea in rather poetic language. Asking if there was anything it was looking for struck a chord. There is. My brother. His signal is hard to find, so I must wander for a good spot so he can hear me.
Okay, this is the last row of the
Who is your
straps, and
brother?
then we
He'll
sew them
ask.
together.
4233 replied, You have written of him in your lightning books. He appears in a suit like mine, though his is white and made for the void, not the water. My elder brother, the champion of the moon. He is very swift in the sky
They're
and
brothers!
very strong, and often very silly. But he has been very, very silly lately. I wish to speak with him. He does not know I am calling him, I think. He has a hard time paying attention to things. 4233 said he wished to know if Moon Champion's stories are true.
Pawn
If they
broker.
are, he wants to assist in the Moon People's
Thank
struggle.
you so much.
If
I
not,
appreciate it.
he
Thank
wants
you.
help instead.
Thank
Pawnbroker
you.
double
Sergeant
007
Hill asked what
Sparkler.
he needed help with, prompting this response.
You guys are so nice
All
to me.
life came from the sea.
I don't
Miss
deserve
Hill.
my chat. Y'all are the
Other
best
things came from
ever.
it too, and I must keep them from leaving. It would be very terrible if they did. I fight well at the bottom. My steel sings heavy death upon these creatures. But times change. They change very quickly, and though I am strong, I am slow. My brother moves with the speed of a thunderbolt and strikes like the justice he so loves. He would be a great help. Hill offers the assistance of the Foundation, but 4233 laughs. He applauds the spirit of the Foundation, but he needs to go it alone with the exception of his brother's help. We all must flow through our ways and bear our own burdens. You are yours, I am mine. Lay your noble guns to rest and quiet your battle songs. Turn from the shore and stand in the warmth of the great sun. You will
Not
be
at
safe.
all. How to
With a mass and
Fred.
churning droves,
I'm
no
gonna just
fowl
call you
of
How to
anything shall
D&D.
drop
Everybody
earth
go
beneath the
follow
weight of my
Fred
mighty
at How
anchor.
to D&D.
For I am Sea Champion. And with that, he clapped his hands together once and walked into the waves. And like Sea Champion, we'll depart from this spot now. There are more items to witness. Here's a fun one playing on an old fearful concept. Wailing of the Wax.
Ooh.
Long story short, it's a horror movie about a security guard's night trapped in a wax museum on Halloween. Under the power of Samhain, the wax figurines come to life, and if they catch you, then you turn into a wax figure zombie too. What started out as 3 guards is whittled down to 1, who has to save his own life and his girlfriend as she makes a surprise visit.
Fred, I would
Standard
be
old
into
survival horror scenarios
being
for
on
the
any of the
movie.
ones that
It's
Josiah
called
are
a fun
already
SCP entry,
on.
though.
So that way we're not
4153,
like
The Wax
doubling
Troupe,
up on time
composed of
apart from
animated
each
wax
other.
figurines
Shut
portraying
up, you're
monsters and villains from
codependent, not
classic
me.
horror cinema. Notable examples include the werewolf, Frankenstein's
We do
monster,
one night a week
Count
where we don't
Dracula,
hang
and
out with each
Professor Henry
other.
Jared from the Vincent Price film The House of Wax. SCP-4153 is active throughout North America. Its members appear at haunted attractions such as haunted houses, trails, and cornfield mazes. Common venues include amusement parks, boardwalks, traveling carnivals, and strip malls. During their performance, instances of SCP-4153 use wax to alter their appearance, produce props, including fake blood and gore, and even manipulate wax objects from afar.
This is sick.
Several instances of 4153 were arrested in 1993 after the owner of a haunted attraction notified police of a break-in. The intruders were attempting to operate
I would
their
love
own
to be a
set within
wax
the attraction.
mancer.
Foundation operatives were called after officers
That would
determined
actually
the
be
instances
sick.
were not wearing makeup. All instances were transported to Site 09 for initial interviews and processing. Shortly thereafter, all contact with Site 9 was lost during a catastrophic containment breach.
I think
A
this
few
is the
interviews
5th
were conducted
one.
with the captured
Kool-Aid.
members of the Wax Troupe. One date in particular stands out, between Agent Gerald Penn and SCP-4153-36. While discussing how the Wax Troupe's antics aren't scary and these monsters don't cut it by today's standards, Agent Penn begins joking. Number 36 notes, "Oh dear, your tongue seems to have gotten away from you there. Here, allow me."
Normally
Penn
I
is
do the
reported to start whimpering,
playlist,
and the subject continues.
but you should just do
Oh,
his
I
channel.
warned you
His
about
channel
this.
is fine.
I told
Hi,
you that
sweet
you mustn't
monstro.
disturb
What
the
are you
wax
doing,
before it
bud?
hardens. That
Hi.
is a crucial part of the process. It needs to solidify, otherwise
Come
you risk
here.
disturbing the
Aw,
performance.
I have a sweet
Subject
baby
36
man.
makes an adjustment,
pretty.
resealing something, and we hear gurgling from Penn. The subject then says, "Good as new.
Monstro.
Now, let's take it from the top, shall we?
You're so cute.
And action. Penn then
I love my
begins
boy.
his interview over again with no apparent notice of what's occurred. It was mentioned earlier that Site 9, containing the wax troop, experienced a
nickname is
contamination breach
Mankey,
at one point.
And I called him that
The entry
before I
states that
knew
during
that
follow-up
there was
investigation,
a
all
Pokemon
on-site
called
personnel were
that
found to have had
that
their skin
actually
and
looks
vital
kind
organs
of like
surgically
him.
extracted, then
I know
replaced
it's
with
like
wax.
an ape,
Autopsies determined
but
that although this occurred several weeks
it's
prior
like the
to
same
initial
colors,
recovery of
hey?
SCP-4153,
And like super furry.
all personnel remained alive up until the day of the breach. Notably, one body,
So that was
that
a
of
fun
Agent
coincidence
Penn,
to
was found without
discover.
its head. All instances of SCP-4153
Thank you very much, Kool-Aid,
remain
by
at
the way.
large. Next on the marquee,
You're a nice
a
man,
slight
and I
break in
like
style
you.
for the
And
director
I wish
to a
for
very long dramatic
good
horror
things
piece by
for
the name
you
of
in your
The
life and
Hanged
your
King.
future.
As the Foundation puts it, The Hanged King is the tale of a successful Broadway director who's pressured by the board of the theater he's had a long stay at to bring them something new and serious. Something really unique and
Petting my
potent to get the
kitty
papers
kitty.
scrambling to spread the word. He discusses the matter with his girlfriend, the blocking director, who mentions an old piece she heard about one she thinks was
No,
called The
Mankey
Hanged
is just a
King.
nickname for
The director asks why
Monstro.
he
His
hasn't
real
heard of
name
it
is
and told that it's
Monstro.
just not very popular. Apparently a lot of bad luck
Not
and
after the
misfortune
whale
surrounds the
in
piece.
Pinocchio, but
She does
after
know of a
the
professor at
enemy
her old
in The
university
Binding of
who handed a
Isaac.
copy of the
I
play,
think
however,
I
and
think
the
that
director's
Monstro
willing
is
to take a look.
the cutest
From
thing
there, things unfold as you might
in
expect.
the Binding of
director catches
Isaac,
a
so I
train
was like,
and
I
meets up
have
with
to
a
name a
professor
cat
who is
that.
very
That's just a
hesitant to
good
hand it
name.
over, warning him up and down that it's
and
cursed. A lot of bad things
fun
have
fact,
happened. Nobody even knows for sure who wrote it. And the director decides to
Monstro's
pursue the play.
original name when he was
This
first
inspired
born
the entry SCP-701,
was Inca.
The Hanged King's Tragedy, and is described as follows.
This story takes some telling,
SCP-701,
but I
The
changed his
Hanged
name to
King's Tragedy
Monstro
is a
before he started
Caroline-era
responding to
revenge tragedy
Inca,
in 5 acts.
because I thought that
Performances
Inca
of the
was
play are
way too
associated with
close
sudden
to
psychotic and
Kika,
suicidal
and
behavior
also
among
kind of
both
sounded like a
observers
girl
and
name,
participants,
even though
as
Kika
well as the
is
manifestation
definitely
of
a
a mysterious
very
figure
femme
classified as
name for my very, very
SCP-701-1.
male cat.
A redacted amount of lives are
He's
reported
like
claimed by performances of the play over the past 300 years.
Such a boy cat.
Performances don't always end in an outbreak. Apparently only 36.78% have resulted in SCP-701 events, but those outbreaks follow a general pattern. 1 to 2 weeks, 7 to 14 days prior to event. During the dress rehearsal period, cast members will begin to spontaneously deviate from the published text of the play. Rather than improvisation or gaffes associated with going off script, set deviations will be both orderly and consistent,
Batcave.
as if the actors were working off a new version of
Proud
the
of you
script.
for today.
The cast and production crew will seem unaware of any change, and, if it is brought to their attention, will state that the play has run that way from the beginning.
I mean, I'm proud of
The
you guys
outbreak generally
always.
occurs during opening
You know what
night,
I mean,
where
I'm
I'll set the
sorry.
production with the greatest planned
You did good
attendance,
today.
generally falling within the first week after the play's opening. 1 to 2 hours before event, SCP-701-1 begins to appear on stage in the final scene of Act 1, generally in the background or to the side of the main action. It may seem to enter or exit the stage area,
Okay,
but
bud,
does
I
not
gotta
appear
start
to ever
sewing.
enter
You're
the
so
backstage
sweet,
or
and I love you
offstage
so
area.
much, and I'm so
It
happy
simply
that you came to
disappears
see
when
me.
not on stage. The cast does not appear to notice or comment on SCP-701-1,
But we're making a very cute shirt,
at least at first.
and people have been waiting for
The
me to be
event.
done with this bodice for a very long
701-1
time.
appears fully on
So I think
stage
we
during
should
the
give them
banquet
what they
scene in
want.
Act 5. Here, it will be incorporated into the action of the play
Don't you
as
think?
the Hanged King.
Oh,
The
you're
cast
so
will either
cute. I
murder
love you
each
so
other
much,
or commit
Maggie.
suicide, sometimes using items that seem to appear spontaneously on stage. Rioting breaks out in the audience, with viewers randomly attacking anyone in front of them, regardless of prior relationship. Following the event, if any of the audience
I
members
don't know
survive
what
the
you
initial
mean by
outbreak,
that.
they may exit the
Fred,
performance
I'm
space,
sorry.
in which case they will continue to engage in random or opportunistic violence. Normal
We
personality
run it
will
on
begin to
his
return roughly
YouTube
24
and
hours
my
after the
Twitch
event.
because I get more
Surviving
Twitch
victims will
viewers than he
generally
does, and
exhibit
he gets
signs
more
consistent
YouTube
with a
viewers than
traumatic
me.
experience.
If that's
Some will
what
have no
you're
recollection of the
asking.
event. Others may be rendered permanently comatose or psychotic. The entry states that the Foundation has been in a constant pursuit of material collection and performance suppression regarding the Hanged King's tragedy, having
Hi,
collected
Sperry,
all
how
known
are ya?
copies of the
It's good to
original
see
play
you.
documents spread in the year 1640, several major publishing prints, and even floppy disks containing the material captured during a raid. The Foundation's biggest success was the suppression of a TV adaptation before it could be broadcast. They're also in possession of a VHS
Here
tape
we
of a high school
go.
performance that ended in an outbreak. An image of SCP-701-1, the being seen on stage, accompanies the entry. Going through external resource links for the entry leads to a summary of the plot for the Hanged King's tragedy, which takes place in 1600s Italy. The plot concerns the fallout experienced by a group of nobles who successfully conspired to kill their king, who they originally meant to die from poison, but instead hanged like a criminal as a final show of disrespect. Their success
got
only leads
kidney
them to a
bullshit making me
marathon of
uncomfortable.
betrayal,
No.
exile, murder, and
I
a
got some
moment
water
of
ice to make me
genuine
feel better.
cannibalism.
So at least
Do
I
we
have
feel
that.
well
I don't
enough
know
after
what
that to
water
journey
ice is.
from one royal court to another?
Fred,
Nightmare
right
King
now
reportedly premiered
it's
immediately
Twitter
following the credits for another
DMs.
film,
Usually it's
just as the
Discord,
Foundation
but I
agent
have like
recording
a
the
whole
previous
pile
had
of
sent in a
Discord
request
stuff
to the
going
resource
on.
team for a coffee.
Yeah,
This
Sperry,
sort
I
of
hope you get to
back-to-back
feeling
showing
better
had
soon.
never
I'm
occurred
very
before,
sorry to hear.
and certainly not under such coincidental circumstance. The film that
Kidney
played
pain
was a
is
mystery that descended into
miserable.
horror as a nurse tried to uncover the source of sudden prophetic nightmares. With the aid of psychologists and sleep specialists at her hospital, she gains the power of lucid dreaming and comes to discover the presence of a man holding a very strange court deep inside her mind, dressed in flowing robes and calling himself the Nightmare King. Her story ends on a more hopeful and thorough note than the Foundation entry counterpart. SCP-4116, the Nightmare King, is described as follows. 4116 is the designation given to a series of specific recurring dreams affecting a single individual at a time. SCP-4116 has an anti-mimetic effect affecting the recollection of dreams, with all victims
Creamier
only
than
being able to
shaved
recall
ice,
the
yet
final dream in
icier
the
than
sequence.
Italian ice.
This
Okay.
makes identifying persons
That
who
was a
suffer from
perfect
SCP-4116
description.
impossible
I
until
fully
after
get
the
what
affliction has
you're
passed.
putting down.
Despite having no
I wonder if
recollection of the
anyone's
details
ever
of the other
considered doing
dreams,
SCP
all
novels
subjects
or
that
like
day
a
have
sort of
manifested
SCP encyclopedia
extreme night
dictionary type
terrors
of
or
books.
report
I'm
intense fear
sure
and
that
anxiety.
exists or is in the
4116
works
afflictions
or whatever.
typically
The
last for 2 to
SCP
3
community
months,
is
with a
so
recorded maximum
active.
of 8 months and minimum of 1 day. The final dream in SCP-4116 has maintained several key features present in all recorded instances.
Oh my god, hilarious.
It is these recurring features among separate persons with no correlations that initially led to SCP-4116's classification as anomalous. The series of events in a standard 4116 dream sequence prior to awakening is as follows. The subject awakens in the dream. The surroundings consist of an extremely long stone corridor, the right wall solid stone and the left a series of large windows, with pillars placed periodically several meters inwards. Subjects report sensations of claustrophobia despite the size of the hallway. The area is dimly lit by an orange light from outside, with long shadows and sharp visual contrast. The subject walks in either direction along the corridor for a long period of time, usually measuring several hours. During this time, they report seeing several pieces of regal furniture placed in the hallway, faded paintings on the walls, and several doors. If the subject attempts to open the doors, they will find them barred from the opposite side, and report a foul smell beginning to emanate from behind. The subject encounters and converses with SCP-4116-1. 4116-1 is a recurring sapient entity located within instances of 4116. The entity has been consistently described as an extremely
I imagine when you're writing an
mummified
SCP, you're
elderly human
donating
male, wearing red regal robes and a
to, like,
simple
the
golden crown
SCP
nailed to the head. Subjects who claim
website.
to have seen additional portion of the entity's body under the robes report similarly withered flesh and a thinly muscled build. Subjects have also described a tapestry consistent with medieval European crafting techniques stitched into the entity's torso. The details of the tapestry vary between cases, with subjects describing scenes such as a battle, a feast, and a parade being depicted.
I feel like if like
In addition,
the website
4116-1 is
decided to
described
put
as
out
having a
books
long
or
white beard
whatever,
and hair, and eye sockets
that
extending
would be
unnaturally deep into the
fine, right?
skull. 44% of reports also include 4116-1 carrying one of several tools or accessories, usually described as some sort of bladed implement, culinary utensil, or simple mechanical device. 4116-1 has repeatedly demonstrated several sociopathic personality traits. The entity believes itself to hold a regal domain over dreams, particularly nightmares. The entity also displays a warped set of values regarding humans as raw material for unspecified purposes. Expanding upon this, 4116-1 seems to have no concept of permanent death, simply referring to such as waking up, suggesting that it has little to no familiarity with existence outside of SCP-4116. Documents recording the reported
Excellent,
final
Fred.
dreams of those experiencing 4116
Sorry, yeah, it's just
point to varying degrees of satisfaction the man in the dream expresses with the sufferer.
ZER0DOXY.
He makes comments about people failing to help him make his kin, as well as falling short of providing food. He also hints at a desire to add people to his court. A document is attached to the entry concerning attempts to help a member of D-Class recover the missing dreams that preceded their meeting with the Nightmare King. After being administered a test drug to get past the mental block, they reported memory returning and shared this. My head is killing me. Okay, I'm sliding down the hallway? No, I'm being dragged by some nasty mummy guy in a bathrobe. Don't like that very much. He's jabbering on about something, about how he's going to use me to make something. Seems excited. Oh hell, I'm starting to see why this was a nightmare. He's hauling me into a room he opened. There were lots of doors in the hall and he opened one. It's dark. I can't see what's inside yet, but I can smell it. Oh, love of God, I'm not saying anything else until I get an aspirin. 2 cracking sounds are heard. The D-Class's eyes rolled back, and the following is reported. A 3rd crack is heard, and the top of D-5042's head splits open. A metallic edge can be seen jutting out from the wound briefly before withdrawing back into the skull. The lights fail for several seconds, and upon reactivating emit a flickering orange light instead. A desiccated hand is now visible, emerging from the opening in the D-Class's skull and attempting to pry the wound further open. Security cameras fail, and no more footage is obtained. Agent Scott and Dr. Samber escaped unharmed to a security checkpoint. Upon re-entry to the testing room, the D-Class's cadaver was found with the head split completely open and deep scratch marks covering the inside of the skull.
Jesus.
The door had been forced open. How this was accomplished is unknown due to the failure of security cameras. The entry notes that no further instances of SCP-4116 have been reported, but 4 days after the event described, a string of violent murders occurred overnight in a redacted town near the testing site.
Shit.
No culprit was ever apprehended. Let's keep that note about dark happenings in town going, shall we?
God
now
damn
that
it.
you're even more wide awake than you were before.
Ugh.
The Phantom Flood is a return to form for early works by the director and studio. Melodramatic, serious yet campy, some obvious effects. It takes place in the lakeside town of Coldwater, Missouri. The inhabitants are just finishing their 4th of July activities when news broadcasts come in warning of a major torrential downpour set to begin early morning, so it would be for the best to get all party equipment and objects susceptible to heavy winds inside or secured. Tom Terryson and his family follow instructions, then wake up the next day to find that, indeed, the rain is coming down and it's pretty relentless. Tom assures his son that the storm will break soon enough, but 2 days later, the storm continues, and TV signal is starting to come and go. And that's when Mr. and Mrs. Terryson start seeing the ghosts appearing in the midst of the storm. People from their past in Coldwater who they thought had all moved away, or just lived far enough in town that they no longer encountered them. This film generated SCP Entry 3300, The Rain, and it's quite a tale. SCP-3300 is an annual event in which the populace of Clearwater, Montana, henceforth SCP-3300-1, disappears and is replaced by a new set of citizens. The SCP-3300 event typically occurs in the mid-portion of June and lasts 6 to 18 days. The first 48 hours of each event are marked by a light continuous rain over the entire city. This portion of the event ends when the rain transitions to a severe thunderstorm lasting for the remaining duration of SCP-3300. The interior of a 3300 event past this point has never been observed. Any attempt by the Foundation to explore the event has ended in either a total loss of personnel/equipment or failure to even enter the phenomena. When the SCP-3300 event ends, all previous 3300-1 instances will have been replaced by new iterations with
You ever cut the wrong strand on your project and it completely fucks you at shit?
Beyond remarking on the unusually severe nature of the storm,
Does this ever happen to you?
No recollection of the event. Instances of 3300-1 behave identically to baseline human beings. However, no record of any instance prior to their appearance from a 3300 event exists. Instances will occasionally share names, professions, certain memories, and broad personality traits with previous iterations of 3300. 3300-1 instances are unaware of their anomalous nature and the circumstances surrounding their existence. Physical and post-mortem examinations reveal no differences from baseline humans. Instances of 3300-1 outside of the town when 3300 occurs will disappear several days after the event begins. All attempts to observe this disappearance have failed. SCP-3300 is accompanied by a moderate cognitohazardous effect. Outside citizens learning about the existence of the town of Clearwater or its citizens will give little thought to them unless the subject is brought to their direct attention. Attached to the entry is a journal from Clearwater inhabitant Margaret Lane during the event in June of 1995. This is the only record available of what occurs during the anomaly from the inside. There's a dream I've been having, which is weird because I don't usually remember my dreams, but I've had this one like 3 times in the past week, Margaret writes. In it, I'm not myself. I'm in a small hut standing above the bed where my daughter lies. Her skin is red, blotchy, hot. I'm praying that the disease won't take her, praying that she will recover or that this is some other sickness. It's no use, I know. The corpse of my husband won't let me forget.
Ugh.
Another of the healthy, a boy who thinks himself a man, calls us together, the few that remain. I gaze around the room and see the same expressions on their faces that I feel in my heart. all except the boys. He grins as we enter and gestures to the bowl of water in front of him. I have found it, he says, the key to our salvation. And then it ends. Weird, right? No idea what to make of it. Anyway, I'm heading to Sam's, so this'll be it for the day. Gray clouds on the horizon. We need the rain. As the days go on, Margaret jokes that she can't remember how the sun looks. The situation becomes more serious as the storm noise grows to a volume that at points needs to be shouted over just to be heard. One minute it was drizzling, the next someone flipped a switch to dump the entire Pacific Ocean onto our heads, she writes. Internet and phone are completely down. The few seconds of clear radio we can get is just a barrage of tornado and flood warnings. I swear some of the people in this town must be absolutely insane, because sometimes when lightning flashes, I can see them walking around outside. Some of them just standing there.
Ooh,
Her next
scary.
entry comes as she's in the back of her friend Jared's van. They're going about 80 miles per hour down the highway, and her friend Isabel is crying next to her. Margaret is afraid she's going to die. It couldn't have been more than an hour ago that this happened. We were all at my place. Sam, Jared, Mike, and Isabel had all come over. I hadn't expected them, but Jared insisted he wasn't going to let something tiny like a biblical flood stop us from exploring the bottom levels of the Dreadlich Argonaut's domain. So we rolled up and started playing like everything was normal. Sam DMing with the stupid little monster accent she does, Isabel and Mike arguing over every scrap of treasure and possible trap we come across, Jared struggling just to keep us all from killing each other, Mom in the other room pretending she wasn't listening in. It was Isabel who first noticed the banging on the door, like someone trying to break it down.
IDK there, Sperry. Think about Star Wars.
In disbelief until Jared rose and grabbed the fireplace poker, then opened the door and saw a family standing on the porch. A mom, dad, 2 kids. I'd never seen any of them before. For a second, we all just stared at each other, and then the dad shoved past Jared and said, "Why are you in my house?" Mom had come out of her room when she first heard knocking.
I feel exactly the same way, Your Highness.
Instantly. What do you mean your house, asshole? This is my house. What the hell are you doing just barging in here? I swear to God, you've got 10 seconds before I get the cops over here. God, I remember being annoyed, embarrassed, wishing she wouldn't flip out over everything. Dad's expression didn't change. He stepped forward again and Jared tried to hold him back. When he did, the dad just flung him, snagged Jared by the collar and tossed him through the living room into the kitchen. Jared smacked into a counter and went limp, and the dad said again in the exact tone, "Why are you in my house?" That was when Mom charged him with a golf club. He barely had time to react before she swung it into his chest. For a second, she looked pleased with herself. I'm sure she was already forming the story to tell all her friends about how she fought off the home invader. When she tried to pull the golf club back and she couldn't, the expression disappeared. The guy didn't look a little bit hurt, not even fazed. The club was stuck in his chest and the skin around it was rippling, like when you throw a stone into a pond. Water dripped out from where the metal entered skin. The man then removed the golf club and struck Margaret's mother in the head. Then he did it again and again, harder and harder, saying, "My house, my house." The group panicked, Mike and Sam grabbing the unconscious Jared, Margaret grabbing the journal by instinct. They piled into the van and drove to the police station where the lights were on but no one was inside. Their next thought was to head to the hospital in nearby Lanhart. "We've been driving for 6 hours now," Margaret reports. "We're almost out of gas. Jared still isn't awake, and we haven't made it to Lanhart yet. We've doubled back twice, looked for road signs, building lights, anything, but there's nothing. No signs, no cities, not even a gas station. We haven't passed another car since we left my house. The rain's falling just as hard out here. Mike says we need to turn around, try to get back to town before we get stranded. Isabel says that's crazy. We need to keep looking for the hospital and we don't have enough to make it back anyway. Sam says she's going to keep driving. It's all we can do at this point." A while later, another entry. Jared is dead and the car is too.
Okay.
No gas, no idea where they are, no idea what to do. Under the exhaustion of it all, Margaret falls asleep and has another dream. I stand ankle deep in a vast, clear river. I'm holding the corpse of my daughter. I'm not sure how I recognize her as taken by the sickness as she is. Her hair has fallen out. Her skin is entirely covered in black scabs that hide even her eyes. Flecks of cracked skin fall away as my arms rub against her body, but for some reason, as I look at her, I don't feel sorrow. I feel hope. I kneel and place her body into the water. It drifts on the surface. Then the water engulfs her, makes her a part of it. She becomes the current that takes her, and I know it will sweep her to the sea where she can finally be at peace. But the work isn't done. I turn,
Rip
way
Jared,
back to shore where the blackened body
and
of my
Rip
husband
daughter.
waits. As I do, I become cognizant of the others, the survivors. Each has with them the bodies of their children, families, friends. 18 survivors. Hundreds of bodies. One by one we take them to the river until only we remain. I woke up to the sound of Jared evaporating. It took me a moment to realize what was going on. The others were all scrambling around the body and I couldn't get a good look. All I could see was the steam filling the car. When I pushed my way through, I saw his body was boiling. That's the best way to describe it. Bubbles writhing and popping across the surface of his skin. Drops of water leaping off him and burning where they touched us. The shape of him almost completely gone, aside from a vaguely human-looking lump within his clothing and some ridges that might have been his face. Sam tried to touch the water to...
This
I
is
don't
gross.
know, stop it, save him, catch him. But the heat of the steam pushed her back. All we could do was watch as Jared fizzled away, until the only thing left of him was vapor and soaked clothing. The tale of the survivors from here turns truly grim. They find a sporting goods store to lock up in, and after some time spent trying to wait out the rain, Mike shoots himself. When the group runs to the sound and find his body, it's not blood that covers the wall. It's water. Sam panics, touching Mike's head, and it comes away wet but clear. Before I could react, she thrust more fingers into the wound. Water ran down her hands as she dug through what should have been his brain. Water sloshed in the chalice of his skull. When we lowered his body to rest on the floor, it was water that pooled on the wood. Sam leapt up, ran to the counter, snatched a knife from its sheath, and held it to her arm. We stared at each other. I didn't want her to do it. Didn't want to see what would happen. She sliced open her arm and water spilled from the wound. We stared at the injury, too distracted to notice Isabel calling to us. It wasn't until she ran over and yanked on my sleeve that I remembered she existed. Outside was all she said. Hundreds of people had gathered outside the window, unmoving silhouettes staring through the darkness, filling the street. When lightning flashed, I saw the faces of strangers soaked by the rain. They've been there for 2 hours now, haven't moved an inch.
This is cute as fuck.
I don't know how long they're willing to wait, but I'm damn sure it's longer than we have. Margaret wrote only 2 more entries from here. The first documented Sam's departure from the store. Margaret didn't stop her, saying, "The thought wouldn't make it past my brain, like there was a wall between my nerves and my body. So I just stared as she stepped into the rain. The silhouette shifted as soon as she was outside. They opened up to let her through, and she vanished into them, into the dark. I don't want to go back." That's what she said before she left. In her final message, Margaret describes one last dream. She's in a storm, wind whipping at her like razors, freezing rain biting skin. Except she has no body. She's part of the storm. She hears the screams of her village around her, and they all fight to escape to no avail. And then I am falling, rushing to meet the ground. For a moment the earth embraces me. I remember what it felt like to feel the dirt beneath my feet and the sun on my skin and the crisp air in my lungs, until the storm steals me again and I'm pulled back into the screams of my comrades. I woke up and Isabel was gone. Just a puddle of water on the floor. I think the rain is speaking to me. I can hear it ever since I woke up. I don't know what it's saying, but the whispers in my ear are getting louder. When I cover my ears, it's still there. If I scream, it rises over the screaming. It wants me to join it. I'm its child and it misses me. It can't bear to be apart. What can I do? What can I do? The strangers are still outside watching me, waiting for my choice. Because they know what my choice will be, don't they? There's only one way this can end. I can wait and starve, or shoot myself, or slice my wrists, or walk out into the rain, but it's all going to end the same way. The water is eternal. The water will remain no matter how polluted it becomes.
Boys.
At the end, we all
It's time to
become
switch
rain.
yarn.
I don't want to go back. A mysterious and sobering situation for sure. Usually, I greatly enjoy the rain, but it may be difficult to avoid thoughts of this tale the next time there's a good thunderstorm. How about we switch gears now to something a bit more fun? Right down the hall we have another horror number, this one with a bit of quirk. The Devil's Price is more of an extended Twilight Zone type of plot. There's a man who constantly looks out for his frail younger brother.
I've never seen Ohio is for Lovers.
From his parents,
I don't know anything about that.
The leftovers.
By all means, feel free to elaborate. If you don't feel like it, though, you don't have to.
This episode of woe over being a small fry is interrupted by a radio broadcast offering the impossible. Body swaps for those who dare to come and find the advertised shop. Later that evening, the older brother finds his younger is missing when they had plans to get dinner. He catches the ad playing on the radio and realizes where his brother must have gone, then gives chase. Upon arrival to the shop, he's met with Dan, the mysterious but ever-smiling shopkeep, who did encounter the younger brother. And a quick trip down to the basement will reunite them, he claims. What follows is a rescue mission in an impossible underground factory that resembles hell, where others who came to the body swap shop cry out from cages, hoping to be rescued before they're sold to the real customers, who wait for them just beyond a wall of fire. The associated SCP is quite similar to what we're shown in the film, but not with such a heartwarming sibling relationship plot. SCP-5049, Demon Dan's Discount Homunculus Depot, is no store you ever want to visit, despite its attractive advertisements. SCP-5049-1 are extraspatial portals capable of accessing SCP-5049 through previously non-anomalous doorways. These doorways become 5049-1
gotcha.
when SCP-5049-2 is watched, and will remain so for 15 minutes before spontaneously demanifesting. 5049-2 is a 2-minute infomercial for Demon Dan's Discount Homunculus Depot, which is capable of interrupting television broadcasts.
I can't find the middle and it's driving me up the fucking
These infomercials usually go a little something
wall.
like this. A logo for Demon Dan's Discount Homunculus Depot appears in baby blue bubble lettering. The image fades to a tall humanoid, SCP-5049-A, standing at a store counter. 5049-A has dark green skin with patches of thick brown fur randomly covering its body. It's also described as having goat-like legs
Does
and
anybody
large
have
pointed hooves, and takes viewers through a tour of the place.
I never listened to Hawthorne Heights, sorry.
His speech is as
I
follows.
was more goth
Hey there,
than
folks,
emo.
it's your man,
I'm not
Demon
gonna say
Dan,
that I
coming at
didn't
you with
listen
all
to
the latest
any
and greatest
emo,
deals
but
from
I
Demon
was
Dan's
definitely
Discount
more
Homunculus
goth
Depot.
than
We
emo.
just
And I
accepted
didn't
a
even
shipment
get
of
to
brand
really
new
look
models
the
that will
part
make
because
even
my
the
mom
most
wouldn't
discerning
let me.
customers weep with excitement.
But
Let's see what we got.
I liked
We're
like
gonna
hard
make your way
rock
through the
and
capitalist
like
hellscape that makes
Marilyn
home look cozy.
Manson
Come
and
try
stuff
one
like
of our newest
that.
businessman models. If you're looking for the extra challenge of inequality, the businesswoman model may be the right fit for you.
But there was
Now, maybe
definitely
you're thinking, but Dan,
some
business sounds hard.
crossover for
I just want to have
sure.
some fun. And the fine team here at Demon Dan's Discount Homunculus Depot have got you covered.
But I was always
has
more
more
The
fun
Cure
than
than My
kids?
Chemical
Oh, well,
Romance.
that's who. For a
Jaw
limited time, the
feel.
purchase of any
Jaw
child-sized
feel.
unit comes with a complimentary 50% off coupon for
I meant to
parental
say jaw
units.
feel, all
You
silly.
just can't say no to a deal
And I
like
said,
that.
well, yeah.
Here at Demon
I
Dan's
guess I
Discount
did.
Homunculus Depot,
Hey,
we know it's
fucking
not all fun and
Mission
games.
success.
The bravest among us have a mission to accomplish. The Seven Lords are ever planning their
Y'all.
invasion after all, so you're looking for function over form. Well, we've got that in spades down here in the Tactical Services Department. You'll be kicking ass in no time when you're wearing the
I
latest
cannot
models at the
believe I
best
can't find
prices.
the center
And
of
I've
this
got a
fucking
special treat
skein.
for you.
I'm
We
so
are
upset
happy to
right now.
announce the
We're gonna
VIP
take a quick
lookalike
break.
department.
Everybody
We all know
hang
how people
tight.
the
Don't
creation
go
of
anywhere. I gotta
homunculus is.
pee.
It's a fine art that takes
And also maybe poop a little bit. Bye. Be right back.
James Rocks 18 cheered. What do we always say? Don't get eliminated. James Rocks 18 cheered. Shout out to the Ledouche family.
Hello. He does not weigh 42 pounds.
That's what the scale said.
How much does he actually weigh?
He weighs 10 pounds.
Really?
Like 9.8 pounds.
Big boy. All right, hi everybody. I really don't want to interrupt this track. I love this track. I don't want him. No, he makes it hard. I'm about to try to get. He knows that I love him. Oh, I think I found it. I think I found it. I did. I found it. The mother ball. Chat room, this is kind of a mess. I'm so sorry. Hi. Perhaps. Okay, see you later, Quinn. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, give me a second to futz around with this goddamn mess of yarn. Ugh, I'm so frustrated by this. It was impossible to find the middle of the yarn. It was impossible to find it. It's somewhere in here. I think I just saw it actually a second ago. I lost it, but now I have to figure out like stuffing all this back in and hoping that I'm not creating knots for the future, even though I know I am. I just know it's gonna happen. It's infuriating, but it's where we're at here. Yeah, just gotta pull on this for a little bit. And I can go ahead and end this and we can get back to SCPs. Can I get 4 readies in chat, please? Yarf, you're not wrong. That's exactly what it is. Hi, Anton. How's it going? Yeah, he's reading us SCPs. He's a good boy. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, chat, let's do this. Oh my god. That is the cutest emote. Okay,
Years of practice.
there we go.
So when a replacement order on VIPs comes in, every detail needs to be perfect.
You too can look like famous icons from around the globe.
The report says the curtain is pulled back, revealing several human bodies that resemble celebrities. Demon Dan wraps up by saying,
If you're viewing the advertisement, then you've been selected for entry. Please enter the nearest door for instant deals and upgrade those old duds for one of our newest models. What are you waiting for?
The nearest doorway will then turn into an SCP-5049-1 instance, a portal to the shop itself. Discovery of this item actually occurred in the midst of the Foundation when the commercial aired on Safe Storage Warehouse 13's Break Room TV. 4 Foundation members were present, including Agent William Birkin. He immediately decided to investigate and entered the door to Demon Dan's. His chest-mounted camera recorded the visit, first catching 4 small, scaly humanoid creatures fighting over a human body. Agent Birkin didn't get close. In an instant, he found himself welcomed by Demon Dan and drew his sidearm. When Demon Dan stepped closer, Birkin fired, but only succeeded in making him disappear. Birkin was disarmed from behind and then hoisted over Dan's shoulder, who then took him on a special tour of the facility. Captured footage revealed human beings in varying states of torture and human skin on tanning racks. Birkin was thrown into a cage
Your Highness, there's a lot of tools for. Hey, here it is.
Then to put the rest
There's a
in
lot
the
of
pulp
tools
grinder
for it.
filling. After several attempts
And
over
I
time
do
to
have
infiltrate the
some,
facility,
but
the
they are
Foundation
not
only
fitted
succeeded in
for
capturing customers at Demon
skins
Dan's.
like this.
21 demonic entities. Interrogations didn't lead to much intelligence. Eventually, they managed to organize a sit-down with Demon Dan.
So right now
and
we
they
just
pulled
have
it off
to
for a very simple reason.
join
The
with the
Foundation
slip
was scaring
stitch and
business
then
away.
single crochet all the
They
way
attempted to
around.
strike a deal with him. A reasonable percent of all deceased human bodies acquired by the Foundation would be given for product. In return, they would get a detailed list of all customers, their place of origin, and the physical appearance of their new bodies. Dan wasn't happy at all with the deal, but recognized that if the Foundation kept attacking publicly,
Yes,
there'd be
it's
no
called a
business
Swift,
at all.
yes.
Just as Dan was about to agree to the deal, however, a gurgling noise came over him and his eyes began
Fred,
to glow bright orange.
instead of pictures of
A much
vampires that are
deeper,
hot,
more powerful
why not
voice
what we
rose
do
from
in the
his throat,
shadows
declaring that the Foundation
for
were
vampires
fools
that are
allowed
hot
to toil
and
in its
funny?
own delusions. You hinder nothing. You jail and barter to no avail, it stated. Your time is coming. Demon Dan's head then exploded, covering the interviewer in purple fluid. After a period of 17 days without activity, a new infomercial appeared, but with a replacement for Demon Dan. The Foundation has found no method yet to shut down SCP-5049. And now we have only 2 films left to observe. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
The Crooked Man is a much darker film in this catalog, taking place in a home for wayward boys and centered on a burned-out older male counselor. Originally a hopeful and optimistic force on the grounds, 14 years of
You
work
think
have taken their
Spencer
toll
will
on
go
him,
for it?
as
I
his
don't
sister
know who
points out while
Spencer
visiting
is.
early on. Whatever happened to you, she
Is
asks.
Spencer
You used to be the brightest
Lute
man in the
from
building.
Flute's Loot?
What's got you all bent out of shape? At the end of the conversation, the sister presents the counselor with a long box, inside of which is an ornate cane with a unique design. A little something to always know I'm here to support you, she says with a smile. He thanks his sister for the gift and she leaves. When he exits the office that evening, the camera hangs ominously on the box before fade to black. Soon the counselor finds himself dealing with horrible, unexplainable attacks against the boys in the home that occur late at night, leaving segments of their bodies stretched out
Hiya!
to
How are you,
impossible
Linneas
degrees.
Kamal? Thank you so
Phone
much
calls
for
to his sister
this
reveal she got the
sweet
cane during a
gift.
trip to the UK, and long-distance contact to the source uncovers further information about the cane's history, which involves similar incidents to what's happening now, courtesy of
Unless
a wicked
that was
spirit known
karate,
as
in which
the
case,
Crooked
youch.
Man.
You got me.
The Foundation entry counterpart is SCP-783, going under the same name. It's listed as a hostile entity currently preying upon the residents of Tembe, a rural hamlet in Oxfordshire, England. It has a period of activity lasting roughly 70 days over the fall and winter months, occurring every 12 years. It exclusively attacks those who
Spencer
are alone and
is
indoors
Jacob's
after
wife.
sunset. Buildings housing SCP-783's current target will experience a steady degradation of their structural integrity. Outwardly, this is visible as
I can't
faults and
look
breaks on
during
the outer
stream,
facade, which
but I
leave
have
affected
opened
structures
that
an angled or crooked appearance.
link in another window.
This anomaly extends to any objects which breach the affected building's exterior, causing immediate and severe deformation that is invariably fatal to living subjects. To date, personnel have yet to prevent an attack or been able to provide any means of assistance to SCP-783's targets.
You guys were doing it.
Due to
We're really
this, as
doing
well as
it. We're
783's
finally
effect on
doing
recording
it.
equipment, little is known regarding 783's exact appearance and the nature of its anomalous attributes. Victims of 783 attacks exhibit gross deformations in their body structure as
The
a result of
bodice is
dozens of
over, and
compound
now it's
fractures
just
along
time for
their
the
long
skirt,
bones
which
and
will take a
severely
lot
displaced
less
vertebrae.
time.
These are healed via the rapid generation of excessive cartilage and osseous tissue.
Hoorah.
Victims display hyperelasticity of their epidermis and musculature to accommodate the extra tissue, with one subject's forearm extending over 2.4 meters and another having a recorded height
Sign
of
me up.
12.5 meters.
2.4 meter
Despite the nature
forearms.
of these injuries, most victims are alive after the cessation of an SCP-783 attack, though they often suffer full body paralysis or remain in a persistent vegetative state. 27 living specimens have been acquired and placed on life support. They are held in a wing of the local hospital requisitioned for Foundation use. The residents of Tembe are aware of the existence of SCP-783, though speaking of it publicly is considered taboo. Researchers have documented a playground song shared among local youths regarding the anomaly. There lived a crooked man
Doxy has
who made a
forearm
crooked deal.
Kink
He kept a
confirmed,
crooked
like
cane in
day
his
one of
cast and crooked
Twitch.
creel.
Like
He
day
stole
one.
a crooked child who cried a crooked squeal.
I am very loud and
that crooked
proud
little
of
man
my
was broken
forearm
on the
kink.
wheel. A research
I was the
endeavor conducted
original.
by the
Nobody was
Foundation using
fucking
decomposed
talking about
personnel
that
situated
shit.
in a property
I'm
in
telling
Tembe.
you.
Records show results
Literally,
on
it was
day
in like
43 of surveillance,
2013
beginning with live
that
feed
I started
distortion.
talking about forearms,
The
and then
declines
all of a
reported
sudden the
hearing
internet was
scratching noises on the
ablaze
first
with
floor.
love for
Major
forearms.
video
Yeah,
corruption occurs
okay,
as he
internet.
investigates and a
Sure,
knock is heard at the
Jan.
door. The D-class
Do people talk
approaches,
about it
asking
now?
who's there.
I have seen it
Communication with the
on
Foundation
several
resulted in radio silence.
Reddit threads
With
now.
no guidance on how to proceed, D-Class 209 opened the door,
Where
resulting
people
in
are
a
like,
loud
surprisingly
snapping
attracted
noise
to
heard throughout the
forearms. And I'm like,
house.
copier.
All light bulbs on the premises burst simultaneously, including floodlights focused on the property. What follows is horrific footage of
Bet that's
D209
an old school
attempting to
doxy
escape from
chatter.
SCP-783
Doxy is
as
such a
his limbs
trend.
and fingers
I
were cracked and
also
elongated
did the
several
rogue
times.
streaks
His
before
body
all
was
the
stretched out
fucking
enough to
girls started
occupy the
doing it. I
majority
did that
of
in
the
like
living room.
2014.
An incident was reported to have occurred outside the home during the same moment the lights blew out. All 27 living victims in Foundation care went into seizure. Despite the fact that the majority
Kool-Aid.
were brain dead or wholly paralyzed, they convulsed for several minutes. 2 present researchers were injured during the incident. Life support systems for several patients were compromised, killing 5. A vast quantity of earth was disturbed on the outskirts of town during this time. Investigation of the area where the earth was disturbed revealed several elongated toes protruding from the ground. A dig team was assembled, and by the following afternoon had unearthed a mass grave, approximately 5 meters across, containing several dozen victims of SCP-783. The bodies were well preserved, yet desiccated. Their number was unable to be immediately ascertained owing to the fact that they had been piled atop one another. They were oriented head down, with their arms extending deeper into the pit. Furthermore, most of the victims' limbs had become intertwined or knotted around each other, preventing exhumation without the use of sawing instruments. Researcher Singer elected to
I remember the
extract the
streams
tissue
when you would
sample.
accept
During
snaps
this
and
process,
people would send
the
you their
soil
forms.
beneath him caved
Yeah,
and he tumbled into the pit.
that would be fun
The body
to start
shifted due
doing
to
that
his weight.
again.
As
That
he
would be
struggled to
really
gain
fun to
footing,
start
the
doing
tangle
that
of limbs
again.
gave way, and he fell out of sight.
Except for
Agent
people
Collins
sent me
promptly commandeered a length of
penises.
rope
People
and
sent
tied
me
it around
wing
her
wangs
waist.
and belly
She tasked several nearby
buttons.
personnel with reeling her in upon her signal and entered
Literally
the pit.
nothing except messing with you.
Approximately 20 meters worth of rope was drawn beneath the corpses as Agent Collins descended. The line became taut after
Not
several
nice.
minutes. She signaled for extraction and was recovered safely.
That's not nice.
Upon debrief, the agent testified to the existence of an anomalous locale, the entrance to which was located beneath the victims' corpses.
Wow,
A temporary
Ozma.
leave of absence
Wow.
was granted to Agent Collins.
You guys are getting
A
so
terrifying
fucking
tale
good
being
at that.
an
I
SCP entry
cannot get
form or as an
over it.
anomalous movie.
You guys are
And
very
now,
funny.
for our final feature presentation, In the Dragon's Domain. This film is centered on an American couple taking a trip abroad, with a major temple of
Joke's
their
on
journey
you, I'm
in
into
Germany
that shit,
observing
hell
the
yeah.
ruins and memorials from World War II. The next destination lies in Austria, a matter they discuss with the hotel clerk. He says their plans are wonderful, but if they would like to witness a marvelous secret of the land, there's a town standing on the border between Germany and Austria that is wonderfully old world with natural sights and feelings like no other. Drachendomain, he says wistfully. Not enough people travel through it. The couple take the advice of the clerk and instruct their driver the next day to take them through Drachendomain as they depart. They enter the land, noticing that what the hotel clerk told them was very true. It's a marvelous place, filled with rustic sights and people in lovely antiquated dress. Along their drive, the car begins acting up, and they all must stop and shelter at an inn until someone from a nearby town can come along and fix the engine. It's once they're able to take a walk outside that the couple notices a huge tower in the distance that resembles an icon in the center of the town crest, carved into the stone archway of the inn they're staying at. The mystery of the town's ability to stay somewhat locked in time grows as the couple encounters sharply uniformed men in several places, who identify themselves as a sort of police force, and all want to ask questions about the couple when encountered.
I'm so
Before
excited
long,
about
their
this
driver
fucking
goes missing,
shirt.
and it's up to them to discover
so
where he
excited
went
about it.
and why so much of the media and iconography in town relates to that
And
mysterious
I'm really
looming
excited
tower.
actually to have something that's a size large
SCP-5050,
going into my
the
shop
entry spawned by
too.
this film is the tower itself, situated right where the movie placed it.
I think
The
that that's just
Austrian-German border,
the right thing
specifically
to
the
do.
Mittenwald municipality in Germany and the Innsbruck-Linn district of Austria. The report states the tower works in a 1,374-meter effective radius, and its frequency range was so extreme as to be considered anomalous by the disruption of applied physics. SCP-5050 also broadcasts television and audio signals as well as radio signals. These broadcasts can be occasionally intercepted by the Foundation, because the process requires a significant amount of time. The broadcasts usually do not last long enough to be fully interpreted. These media appear to be somewhat procedurally generated. The signal from SCP-5050 primarily affects the surrounding town of Drachendomain, designated SCP-5050-A. 5050-A appears to be consisted of a mix of technology from the 1960s to the 1980s. The level of technological advancement in SCP-5050-A seems to be slow. Its inhabitants appear to be affected easily by the signals, but no direct testing has been available to support the conclusion. Neither 5050 nor 5050A have any historical construction records.
By the way, I call him Your Highness because it's funny to me for some reason.
Tower shows a message.
Or when someone knocks on a public bathroom stall door, I say, "Come back with a warrant." Dude one day was like, "What?" I said, "Occupy."
The anomaly in Draken Domain was made in 1987, and there are several logs by research teams sent to investigate.
Phenomenal.
They read out as an excellent story. The first research team's logs show them gaining steam just as they're snuffed out, followed by Foundation document requests on the extinguished team's behalf that reveal the town was a creation of the SCP Foundation, and yet the records of its creation are impossible to find. In the second half, a new research team is sent out, hoping to finish what was started and discover what happened to the first team. Threats and warnings from the tower come in across the TVs they encounter, and the police force of the town is shown to be an active physical aspect of the tower's will. An insider makes contact with the team and only manages to arrange a meeting after the tower conducts one by escorting them to the police force's viceroy, who is a conduit for the tower itself, boasting about its power in comparison to the ability of the investigators. The insider who catches them on the way out of the meeting reveals themselves to be a survivor of the original research team, who is not quite the person they once were now, referring to their body as a shell. They have been turned into a tower speaker, meant to spread its message. A series of clues delivered by the insider during conversation lead to the entrance for the facility that runs the tower. Once inside, the team catches as much documentation as they can, revealing the origin of SCP-5050. The Tower of Draken Domain was an agreement between the O5 Council overseeing the SCP Foundation and the U.S. government, designed as a dual experiment in artificial intelligence and mind control. For the purpose
I was going
to
say I would
shit
myself, but I'd be in exactly the right spot for that, I guess.
The ultimate activation key to the tower lied in the installment of a personality matrix for the AI, which would put it under the control of whoever designed that matrix. Documents reveal a conflict between several groups working on the project about the personality matrix, all of whom ended up installing their own matrix hoping to subvert the others without them knowing. When the tower was turned on, the result was a multi-personality mess that had resolved the issue of conflicting minds by combining them into a single Mad King personality, which took over immediately and began overtaking all connected systems. The tower locked down the facility and vacuumed the air out, killing everyone inside. It ran the area ever since, undisturbed until its rediscovery decades later.
And then once they slide a pen in,
even happen?
You say, and then something to sign with?
And the Foundation that was limited to a small foreign area, it was easy to abandon, and would have been humiliating for anyone to discover. The O5 Council was embarrassed by the findings in modern day and issued an apology statement for its decision-making in the 1960s, informing the Foundation that following the failure of 5050's creation, they had signed an agreement with the U.S. government to never work together again.
That's one thing that I'm very, very jealous of.
There is no telling how many projects had occurred until the failure of the tower.
Is that you guys get to write your name with your P. Do you know how kind of crazy crab walking I'd have to do to write Mallory?
Complete. I hope you've enjoyed the showings tonight.
What a thing to be jealous of. As if it's not cool and fun. Don't tell me that you don't draw things with your P all the time. Don't tell me that. I won't believe you.
NightMind and the NightMind Index for unfiction projects.
You literally pee out of a flesh
pencil. You can be a patron for just $2 a month and still get your name in the credits of all major videos. Thanks for joining me in the dark again this evening for another annual SCP Vault. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and like our favorite October specials, I'll be seeing you again.
I live in 60+ degree weather constantly.
Please exit the theater in an orderly fashion, get home safely, and sleep tight.
It's true. It's just true. I don't know what else to say. That thing we used to get before the world started cooking. Yo, it's been very cold up here. It has started to get warm, but like it was a very cold spring up here. Pee in like 30 seconds almost anywhere. Yeah, that's gotta be so dope. And you don't have to worry about like squatting or anything. Squatting into, like, foliage when you're doing a wilderness pee. Field piss! I have an H drive in my computer.
Another year, another October, and you all know what that means on NightMind. As it happens, so do my friends at the Foundation, who I dare say have become fans of our annual SCP Vault series, at least when their superiors or anyone close to the O5 Council aren't around. In preparation for this
Hi,
October,
babe.
some of the doctors have assisted me in exploring possibilities for sharing information that's been cleared by the Socialize, Communicate, and Publicize initiative. And after some additional consultation with certain divisions, I've been granted access to a truly remarkable treasure trove of Foundation items. On record. Here's the background. In the 90s, when the internet was just getting its sea legs, information leakers established a website called Secrets, Cryptids, and Paranormal to release documents smuggled from a compromised Foundation satellite office. Since the web crawler technology was still being developed back then, this site remained in operation long enough to gain a degree of attention, and has become a legend among those with knowledge of the Foundation prior to public outreach attempts. Among the crowd of early visitors to that
I'm supposed to get
website
snow
were
on
members of a
Friday
dangerous group
when I'm
of
supposed
interest,
to
Are
drive
Wikiuliac,
through the
a
mountains.
collective of
Oof.
artists specializing in the field
Rough.
of anart.
If you
or
could pee with enough
anomalous
force and it was
artwork.
cold enough
It is
out,
the
you could
belief
use
of
it as a
many
long-range
members of the anart
projectile
movement that
weapon.
interfering with the accepted and commonplace laws of reality and society using anomalous means
not
is
wrong.
not only acceptable, but is the next true evolution of artistic expression. And
Definitely
the
jealous of
consequences
snow, not the
anart
driving though.
installations on
It's
living
really,
creatures and reality
it's not
are
that
merely
bad when
extensions of the
you're
world.
not
Often,
in the
the
mountains,
consequences
in like
themselves are the very
winding,
purpose of the
desolate roads.
installations, producing artistic statements,
I guess
no matter how
in the middle of the
detrimental or
forest
permanent they may
too.
be.
It
In
is hard.
2011, the SCP web crawler detected sensitive information matches on a site known
Snow
as
is
Creepy
super
Stories
worth it.
Portal. At first glance, it appeared to be a cousin to creepypasta wikis and archives. The web crawler's hit on one article was originally considered a lucky coincidence, until further investigation revealed the story
Also, you
matched
just
a
don't-
legitimate Foundation entry a
You
bit
just don't
too
drive as
closely.
much in the winter. You
Scanning
just don't
criteria for the web crawler was adjusted,
drive unless
and it
you
was
have
sent
to,
on a thorough
you know, which
examination
is
of the site, which
fine
resulted
by
in
me.
13 more hits. Internet-related anomaly protocols dictated an immediate quarantine for Creepy Stories Portal.
I'm glad
but
you
as soon as
enjoyed
action was attempted, the situation escalated.
Sleep
The
Ninja.
site directly repelled attempts to contain it through standard means, revealing its own anomalous properties. Priority level shifted in the division dedicated to anomalous internet activity, and a preliminary task force was assembled to assess the severity of the threat. Meanwhile, a deeper scan by the web crawler and hands-on research by the Office Task Force revealed that many more articles on the site matched Foundation entries. Two theories were immediately put forward. The site was either a tribute to the old Secrets, Cryptids, and Paranormal site from the 90s being guarded from retaliation using anomalous means, or stories accepted to the site were becoming anomalous. In order to test the validity of the second theory, a task member who dabbled in writing amateur fiction as a hobby signed up to the website and submitted an entry. It was accepted with surprising speed, and under the conditions written about in the story, field-based members of the task force witnessed anomalous activity occur in line with that narrative. Two other task members were encouraged to submit a story, each with conditions that could be observed by the Foundation, and both resulted in activity related to the narratives. The task force was upgraded from preliminary status to full assignment, and authorization was granted to hunt down physical locations and persons of interest related to Creepy Stories Portal. After 8 months of high-priority investigation and containment attempts, the task force succeeded in cornering the site's creator, a notorious anartist in the upper echelon of Wikiuliac. The assault on the artist's hideout was very involved. He had taken shelter inside an anomalous creation spawned through his own writing on the website in anticipation of being captured. In the end, conflict resulted in the death of the target, a predictable outcome due to the poetic tragedy ending written by the author at the end of his story. His death came with an
Kind of
immediate
shit if you use
cessation
a lot
of
of
anomalous
roundabouts.
effects on CSP.
Oh, I
and
missed a
through it, the
hydrate.
disappearance
So
of every
sorry. Thank you
anomaly
for
brought
looking
to
out
life
for
through
me.
its
I will
story
get that
archive.
going right now.
Anyone posting to
So
the site from that
sorry.
point was immediately
What a
traceable by the
fucker I
Foundation,
am.
resulting in the capture of several serial anartists. A mass capture of this magnitude opened a floodgate of information on the organization of Wikiuliac and its methods
Yum,
that
yum.
doctors consider a significant moment in Foundation history. Strangely, none of the anartists interrogated could provide insight on the means by which the site's creator produced an entire web of anomalies. What this means today is that there's an archive of neutralized SCP entries brought to life through a single anomalous website, And because they've all been neutralized, I have clearance to present a hand-selected slate of items for our October tradition. Our first tale tonight, originally titled A Sight for Sick Hearts, is the most appropriate entry to begin with. SCP-5553 Keter Class, otherwise known as Jack, a social network for a very select group of people. Its features include status posting, photo sharing, a news feed, public and private commenting, and private messaging, much like any other social website. But unlike its major tech peers, Jack was accessible only to those who have committed serial murder of at least 3 victims. According to Foundation records, persons who were not eligible to view site content were exposed to an info hazard that caused confusion and memory loss related to the content of the webpage. In approximately 5% of these cases, causing nearly instantaneous quadriplegia, intense pain, and subject death within 10 minutes, after which the device connected to SCP-5553 disconnected and shut down. Premature shutdown of the device did not mitigate the lethal effect of the info hazard. Invitations to join the site are sent via email to users with internet access who meet the above condition and are designated PSM-0. Upon joining the site, PSM-0 users are allowed to utilize the site features. They can create a user profile under a pseudonym, or their real name if they so choose, and join discussion forums.
I'm really excited Josiah's gonna
These
make
forums cover many topics related to homicide and other off-topic subject matter. Several of these forums cater to specific interests, including support groups for users who want to reform or repent for past actions, and advice boards dedicated to sharing tips, tricks, and strategies to perform murders without being caught. The most popular board, the Showcase, allows users to have their own individual page to act as a portfolio of past murders performed. The website claimed that it was launched in 1999 by an entity under the pseudonym Moriarty, and this was actually verified by researchers. The anomalous effect of Creepy Stories Portal was strong enough to create world-based activity even years before the anonymous responsible launch of the
I'm going to double-check the pattern, but if I recall correctly, now we chain 4, skip 2, and single crochet.
An example of the newsfeed was supplied with the original story.
But I need to double-check, so give me just a second.
A test was conducted with D-Class subject 7372, who had performed 6 murders over 4 years while working as a stockbroker and admitted to having an account before being arrested. Seated across from Foundation researcher Dr. Holt, 7372 was instructed to use a restricted access laptop to access Jack through his old account and read the items on his newsfeed. Canada never shared the status. It's been 10 years, guys. I haven't done it again, but I've wanted to. I still hurt. I want it to stop. Adam Kaepernick asked if he could livestream the kill he'd planned for that Friday to the site. Moriarty,
chain 4,
owner,
single crochet and second chain from chain 4 from previous round, twice.
Showcase, to much applause from other members. D7372 was encouraged to make a new post and report the replies after an hour. His account was revealed as Random2.
Yeah, okay, hold on.
Wrote,
Chain 4, skip
hey,
2 stitches, single crochet all around. Yeah, okay, I fucking skipped it.
20. Anything new in your part of the world?
Moriarty
himself replied, asking how things are on the inside, followed by a direct message, which presented an opportunity to investigate the administrator. You were relatively active until recently.
Sorry about
that. I was worried
everybody.
Something had happened, Moriarty wrote. I got in trouble and had internet privileges taken away, Random2 answered. That's a shame, Moriarty replied. You are so good at supporting people and wanting to reform. Well, I don't want them to end up like me. But hey, why are you reaching out to me personally? I'm nobody. I don't think you're nobody. You're one of us. We need to look out for and support each other.
Is Josiah a good cook? He's a great cook.
Provide? According to D7372, Moriarty went quiet at that point.
It's like fun and romantic and intimate to him.
The Foundation report then moves to Incident 5553A, detailed as follows. 72 hours after the end of the last test with 7372, Site 651 suffered what appeared to be a non-anomalous security breach.
And I will
7372, utilizing previously unknown knowledge of Foundation security protocols, exited his holding cell, killed 2 Foundation personnel, and successfully passed through 3 security checkpoints with unanticipated precision before escaping into the desert.
724
An investigation into the escape revealed several security flaws in both personnel and
for
software
this
protocols,
part, and this is a large size. I would put this on somebody who normally wears a larger extra. I'll measure it.
As a memo was sent out to all Foundation members following clearance from Internal Affairs. If you have a social media account on Jack, please contact me immediately. Your privacy will be protected. Your expertise is required. All others, please disregard this memo. Janet Hu, Director, Site 651. 13 personnel members
Hi, babe.
responded to the request.
Thank you
and
so
were
much.
designated PSM-1A through 1M.
I appreciate you.
One member of the new research team was given
You're the
clearance to
best
view
ever.
recordings of 7372 sessions and reported
Very
that
hungry.
Rendon 2 had been dishonest
Yeah,
in
are you?
describing what actually came across on the screen. I know where you are, Moriarty said.
If you're not
I know
super
who's holding
hungry,
you.
I
It's
would
all
be
right. I'm here to help you. Tell them I said you were active until recently and was worried
very
about your well-being.
into. I would eat
Ask
some
them
of
if
those
you are allowed
oats
to
or
converse with
something
me.
if you would be
They
willing
will
to bring
likely
it
say
up.
yes, as
but
it will
also
be an
no
opportunity
pressure
for
if
them
you're
to get
not.
information, and that tends to blind their common sense
Huh?
sometimes. After 7372 complied,
Yeah, that would be
Moriarty
sick.
said,
Just like
"Good,
one
you're
of the
back.
little
I spent the
bowls,
last day getting information
little
for you.
gray bowls.
Let me know when you're ready. In the meantime, let them know that I replied with something polite and that you were actively wanting people to reform. They don't need
Give
to
me
know
just
your
a
real
moment
post-history.
to
So we're clear.
keep this all
I am not doing
together.
this for free. You will work for me until the day you die, but you're going to be a free man, so there's that. Ready? Tell them I said something nice and polite. Rendon 2
Hi,
then asked what
Brian.
other support
Thank
could be
you. How
provided,
are you?
and had originally
I love
said
you
Moriarty
too.
went silent for 20 minutes. In reality, he spent
You
15
like my
minutes
nails?
explaining every detail
I
of
got
the
them
plan for
done
escaping
today.
Site-651. Finally, the new researchers with access to
And this
Jack
is all
reported that
this length is
7372 had
actually
resumed activity
mine.
on the site
The
under the name
thickness is
Rendon 2
not.
following his escape.
But the length is,
As a
except
touch of
also
addenda,
except for on
a
these
brief
two
exchange was
fingers.
caught between a user and Moriarty. False Prophet said his wife took a look at the computer while he was using the bathroom, had a seizure, and died from the anomalous effects. The
Smidge,
user
thank you so much for the
Goldfather
follow. I
sometimes kills
appreciate you very
people
much.
instead of just confusing them away from the site. Moriarty replied with a link
I was just
to
gonna
his
say I'm
own
happy you got some links
showcase.
back. Yeah, it's been
While the
brutal.
Foundation was able to direct local law enforcement in capturing individuals who provided enough personal information through Jack to
I
incriminate
had like
themselves,
full-on
the
false
majority of
nails
users could not
for
be traced.
the past 3
According
weeks.
to FBI statistics, there are estimated to be around 25 to 50 active serial killers in the United States alone at any point in time. Our next item is a classic sort of online horror tale, a ritual that anyone who's feeling curious can perform. SCP-4240, The Roundabout Game,
Cutting
was a
off your
story in first-person
Lexapro.
perspective about a girl whose friends attempted a ritual, which involved
Can
a
you
simple set of
wean?
instructions.
Can you
1.
wean? Because I
Pick at
don't
least 4 doors in
recommend
your
doing
house,
it without
at
that.
most 8. 2.
Oh.
Use chalk.
Oh,
Number each of the doors, making sure to write the numbers very
really?
clearly.
It
will
usually
be
was so much
important later.
quicker for me.
Make sure you are able to pass through each door in order. 3. Once the clock hits
Yeah,
midnight,
definitely
start going
super good.
roundabout.
I hope
Once
that
you hit
it
the last
goes
door,
okay
go
for you.
through the
That
first
shit
one
is
again.
a nightmare.
After 10 loops or so, you'll see what the fuss is about.
So, okay.
Remember, don't leave the loop before you win. Don't go back through a door you've
Thanks,
just
babe.
gone through. Keep going until you reach the staircase.
All right, so
and then
all the
will
way
be well again.
around
I'm talking to you now. While the story ends with the girl's description of a friend's
is
narrow escape
37
from the ritual's
inches.
outcome, the entry in Foundation Archive gives us a full rundown of what's involved. Once an individual familiar with these rules undertakes the steps detailed, they will disappear from observation following 3 of the described loops. Interviews with surviving subjects indicates that at this point, they
I don't know.
enter
Yeah,
interdimensional
it's
space,
a
hereafter
38-inch
referred to
waist,
as
so probably like an
SCP-4240-1,
extra large.
initially identical to their previous location.
Maybe I'll get lucky and it will be
However,
mild.
as
That
they
has
continue to
happened to me
perform loops
before
within
too, so
4240-1,
here's
the
hoping.
environment will grow noticeably
Yeah.
darker, and new rooms will appear between the numbered doors, significantly increasing the length and difficulty of the loop. Any individuals who attempt to break the rules of 4240 by going back through a door they have just passed through will be returned to their original location, with a level of injury proportionate to the number of loops they've already made. Prior to 25
my
loops,
cute pink
subjects commonly
measuring
survive
tape
with
that
major
is
bruising to the
on
face and
one.
limbs, but
I
all
miss
subjects
it.
who have attempted to exit past 25 loops have been killed via severe blunt force trauma. The exact mechanism by which these injuries are inflicted is unknown, as subjects retain no memory of the crossover period between 4240-1 and the real world. Past 25 loops, recordings have shown subjects reporting feelings of being watched and followed, as well as being touched by an invisible but physical presence. The record of the roundabout
bite
game
of
comes from
overnight
Exploration
oats.
Log 4240-1. D-Class member 28392 was instructed to enter and continue through the loop as long as possible. He was equipped with recording devices and was told to periodically give a description of his journey. 28392 begins by testing the equipment and mentioning how 4 very basic rooms have been set up out of plastic. They look really flimsy, he notes, like I could just punch a hole in this. He asks the researchers if they're sure about that, and is given instruction to proceed.
See you later, Fred. Have a good
On
one.
loop 3, he describes how everyone is gone. He was able to see them through the plastic, but now there's nothing, and the atmosphere
All right.
feels weird, possibly the floor, but he can't say
Back
for
to
sure.
work.
On loop 5, the outside gets a bit darker, but it's on loop
Coffee.
6 that he gains real concern. A new room has opened between numbers 3 and 4. Not plastic, brick. There are bags within, with something rotting inside. He checks the contents and is relieved to find it's poultry. Loop 7, he says next. Yeah, the meat room's sticking around. It's still here. There's kind of a porch between 4 and 1 now, too. You said
Could
to
somebody
note my
please show
experiences,
Brian
so
what
I
I'm
should probably
making?
mention this. Said I could punch a hole in the wall before, and it was real flimsy. Well, I can't anymore. Won't even budge. So that's something, I guess. Loop 11. Starting to get tired. Is there a time limit
Brian,
on
you
this,
can
or
exclamation
probably
or
should have asked
tilde
before we started.
pattern in the chat, and it will
Loop 16.
take you to a
Got
link that
hallway
shows
right
a
after
picture of
meat
the
room
finished
now,
project.
So getting from 3 to 4 is kind of a trek. Plus, it's starting to get dark. I tried the flashlight, but that's getting dark too. It's like watching TV with the brightness down.
It's very pretty. I'm
Loop 20.
making one for
Got a
myself
long
too,
walk from 3 to
off
4
stream.
now. Meat room,
But
then
I,
hallway, then the meat room again.
I gave it
Tripped over my own
a
feet
different
more than once
neckline.
too. Only thing I can see really clearly are the numbers on the
It
doors.
comes up towards
So
the
we've got
center
that.
and attaches to
Loop
like a
25.
collar
There's
with a
something
button
behind
in the
me.
back.
I just can't
I'm
see
thinking
it, but
about
I know it's
adding
there.
straps
I
from
mean,
the straps that come up
listen.
here,
The sound of rapid
to
footsteps plays on the recording.
the
D-class
back, but
whispers.
I'm not sure whether I'm
for
going
it.
to or not.
And
Yeah, as
sure
soon as
enough,
it's
we
done,
hear
I'm
them
gonna wear
again.
it on stream, and you guys will
See?
be able to see it.
That's not me. That's something following right behind me. He continues on through the meat room and remains silent
Brian,
for a
I
few
think that
rounds.
model is like
The next
14 or
communication
15.
comes on loop 35. He's right behind me, pressing against me whenever I stop. Cold, but he's getting warmer. I don't know, man. I don't want to turn around.
Thank you.
42. He's on my back.
I thought you were
got his
perving on
arms
like a
around my
middle
neck.
schooler.
I need to hold my head funny or his elbow digs in. He's got elbows. That's important information. Is that important information? Heavy.
That's hilarious.
16 meat
That's
rooms.
so fucking funny.
17. Sometimes my childhood bedroom, sometimes my childhood basement, sometimes my prison cells, sometimes my quarters here. Legs hurt. I can just barely see them. The rooms, not my legs.
Oh no.
If I close my eyes,
I just
the
realized I
numbers.
need to back this up
He's
because
breathing
this
on
is
my
the one
cheek.
that is Quinn's favorite.
A moaning sound comes over the tape.
Shit.
The D can't see it, but I know it's there. And one now, too.
I have to start the roundabout game
Recordings have shown
over
subjects. Don't leave the
because
loop
I need to
before
pay
you
attention
win.
to it. I'm
Don't
so
serial killers in
sorry.
the United States alone at any point in time. Our next item is a classic sort of online horror tale, a ritual that anyone who's feeling curious can perform. SCP-4240, The Roundabout Game, was a story in first-person perspective about a girl whose friends attempted a ritual, which involved a simple set of instructions. 1.
Overnight oats
Pick at
rule.
least 4 doors in your house, at most 8. 2. Use chalk. Number each of the doors, making sure to write the numbers very clearly. This will be important later. Make sure you are able to pass through each door in order. 3. Once the clock hits midnight, start going roundabout. Once you hit the last door, go through the first one again. After 10 loops or so, you'll see what the fuss is about. Remember,
Okay.
don't leave the loop before you win. Don't go back through a door you've just gone through. Keep going until you reach the staircase, and then all will be well again. I'm talking to you now. While the story ends with the girl's description of a friend's narrow escape from the ritual's outcome, the entry in Foundation Archive gives us a full rundown of what's involved. Once an individual familiar with these rules undertakes the steps detailed, they will disappear from observation following 3 of the described loops. Interviews with surviving subjects indicates that at this point, they enter an extra-dimensional space, hereafter referred to as SCP-4240-1, initially identical to their previous location. However, as they continue to perform loops within 4240-1, the environment will grow noticeably darker, and new rooms will appear between the numbered doors, significantly increasing the length and difficulty of the loop. Any individuals who attempt to break the rules of 4240 by
Yum.
going back through a door they have just
Wow.
passed through will be returned to their original location, with a level of injury proportionate to the number of loops they've already made.
Ugh,
Prior to
Sleep Ninja,
25
that's the
loops,
worst.
subjects commonly survive with major bruising to the face and limbs, but all subjects who have attempted to exit past 25 loops have been killed via severe blunt force trauma. The exact mechanism by which these injuries are inflicted is unknown, as subjects retain no memory of the crossover period between 4240-1 and the real world. Past 25 loops, recordings have shown subjects reporting feelings of being watched and followed, as well as being touched by an invisible but physical presence. The record of the roundabout game comes with exploration log 4240-1. D-Class member 28392 was instructed to enter and continue through the loop as long as possible. He was equipped with recording devices and was told to periodically give a description of his journey. 28392 begins by testing the equipment and mentioning how 4 very basic rooms have been set up out of plastic. They look really flimsy, he notes, like I could just punch a hole in this. He asks the researchers if they're sure about that, and is given instruction to proceed. On loop 3, he describes how everyone is gone. He was able to see them through the plastic, but now there's nothing, and the atmosphere feels weird. Possibly the floor, but he can't say for sure.
This is
on
fun
loop 5,
so far.
The outside gets a bit darker, but it's on loop 6 that he gains real concern. A new room has opened between numbers 3 and 4. Not plastic, brick. There are bags within, with something rotting inside. He checks the contents and is relieved to find it's paltry. Loop 7, he says next. Yeah, the meat room's sticking around. It's still here.
Ew.
There's kind of a porch between 4 and 1 now, too. You said to note my experiences, so I should probably mention this. Said I could punch a hole in the wall before, and it was real flimsy. Well, I can't anymore. Won't even budge. So that's something, I guess.
It's definitely something,
Loop 11.
sir.
Starting to get tired. Is there a time limit on this, or... Probably should have asked before we started. Loop 16. Got a hallway right after the meat room now, so getting from 3 to 4 is kind of a trek.
Please stop calling it
Plus,
the meat
it's starting
room,
to get
sir.
dark. I tried the flashlight, but that's getting dark too. It's like watching TV with
See you
the
later,
brightness
Bardic.
down.
Have a good one.
Loop 20. Got a long walk from 3 to 4 now. Meat room, then hallway, then the meat room again. Tripped over my own feet more than once too. Only thing I can see really clearly are the numbers on the doors. So we've got that. Loop 25. There's something behind me. I just can't see it, but I know it's there. I mean, listen. The sound of rapid footsteps plays on the recording. The D-Class whispers, "Wait for it." And sure enough, we hear them again. See? That's not me. That's something following right behind me. He continues on through the meat room and remains silent for a few rounds. The next communication comes on loop 35. He's right behind me, pressing against me whenever I stop. Cold, but he's getting warmer. I don't know, man. I don't want to turn around. 42. He's on my back. He's got his arms around my neck. I need to hold my head funny or his elbow digs in. He's got elbows. That's important information. Is that important information?
It sounds important.
Heavy. 16 meat rooms. 17. Sometimes my childhood bedroom. Sometimes my childhood basement. Sometimes my prison cells.
Is Zelda
sometimes my quarters
Dixon
here. Legs
that
hurt.
old lady from,
Barely see
I mean, she
them.
always plays like a
The
mystic.
rooms, not my legs.
She's in Poltergeist
I
and
close my eyes, but
some
numbers.
80s movie that I can't... Teen Witch, maybe?
He's
I can't
breathing on
remember the
my
name of
cheek.
it.
A moaning sound comes over the tape. The D-Class whispers, "That wasn't me." Silence follows as the D-Class continues the loop. His next report begins. Gnawing my ear. Took a bit off, but I couldn't feel it. It's just a part of me, missing. If I reach my arm behind me, I can feel his face, like in the movie about the Elephant Man. I try to feel his face again to compare.
Nice,
but I
okay.
don't have that anymore.
Her first name is definitely
I
Zelda. I cannot
figured
remember
it
her
out.
last name.
Why I'm standing all funny? What's up with the floor? It's tilted downwards, just a little. The D-Class coughs. This isn't
I
a
feel like
circle.
half of you probably
It's a
know
spiral.
immediately who I'm talking about.
Silence follows.
She had
for
a very
several
distinctive
rounds.
voice. It was
Then,
like kind of
finally,
high-pitched.
When I was a kid, I
Caroline!
pissed off my mom. She always used to tell me about the twin I'd killed in the womb. How good of a son he'd have been. How he would have respected her. How he wouldn't hurt her like I hurt her. Like I always hurt her. Then she'd hit me or send me down to my room or whatever she felt like. I always felt like a monster when she told me what I'd done. There's always someone
The
who is
small
in the
lady,
line
yeah.
because you are. Ain't that awful?
Nice.
But
My dick's inside her.
I'm feeling like I've been redeemed some. The sound of tearing meat plays on the tape, followed by
Gross.
laughing. There's a muffled sentence, then the word, okay. Silent for a moment, and another upbeat statement. Love you, buddy. Loop 99. Stairs. 25 hours and 53 minutes after he had first
Who's
entered
the
the interdimensional
handsomest kitty
space,
boy? I love your
D28392
tuxedo.
reappeared at Site 36
What a
and collapsed from
mustache.
exhaustion.
Oh,
Following a brief
handsome
period
boy.
allowed for recovery,
I like your dog.
28392 was brought back in for an interview conducted by Dr. Lang.
Rubenstein, that's right.
28392 is noticeably distracted by the sight of his hands at the start. When questioned, he apologizes and says, "It's just, 25 hours in the pitch dark. You kind of forget what your hands look like." The D-Class reports feeling alright, and is attentive as Dr. Land asks about the presence mentioned halfway through the exploration. When asked to expand on the subject, 28392
It's not a
replies,
fucking lie.
"It was kind of this,
I like your dog,
sort of
no matter
invisible
who
thing
you
with me
are,
hanging
and no
onto
matter
my
who your
back.
dog
Was
is.
that like a ghost or something?"
Don't mind
Dr.
if I
Lang
do,
confessed they can't say for
Azuma.
sure and asked what happened to it.
Thank you for looking out
28392
for me.
laughs. Hell if I know. Just glad that thing's finally gone, Dropped off once I reached the stairs. You say it dropped off, Dr. Land mentions. From that wording, do you think it's dead? 28392 smiles. Yeah, I think so. In keeping with experimentation policies,
Were you eating
the
rice?
D-Class was
Oatmeal?
kept under
Overnight
observation
oats.
for a month and thoroughly tested for residual anomalous effects.
Nothing
Nothing out of the
just
ordinary came
steel
up,
cut
and he was
oats,
granted release in alignment with
that
standard
soaked
D-Class
in
employment
milk,
policies. This brings
yogurt,
us to the final section of the report.
vanilla yogurt,
It reads, in order to gain more intelligence on any entities
honey,
potentially dwelling within
and bananas overnight.
SCP-4240-1, further exploration was arranged.
And then today we stirred a little bit of
equipped with a
peanut butter
recording
into
device in the
it.
same manner as
Really
D-28392, was ordered to
Oh, and
proceed
some
into
coconut.
SCP-4240-1 and make precise observations regarding any entities that he might encounter. 6 hours later, D-392-12's beaten corpse reappeared
Sounds
on the
good. It's
testing ground.
awesome.
Analysis of his recordings indicated that
Overnight
he had
oats
become
are
intimidated
really,
by a
really
pile of
yummy. They
human
have an
viscera that
awesome
had appeared
texture,
during
and
one
they're
of his loops,
super good for
and he had
you.
thus attempted to flee SCP-4240-1 by retracing his steps. Due to the number of loops he had already undertaken, this resulted in his death via blunt force trauma. Analysis of viscera traces from 392-12's shoe showed it to be genetically identical to D-283-92. While rituals shared online are largely
You
harmless,
can
and a
talk
bit of
about your
creative
drama
writing,
a little bit, Dix Insider. I'm
reminds
sorry
us
that you've
some of
reached
these
your
games
breaking
are best
point.
left alone.
Please feel free to talk about it if you
Likewise,
need
so
to.
are some parts of nature. Our next entry came from
I'm
a
not going to
submitted
yuck
story
your yum, but
titled
something about
Only
oatmeal
for
oats
You,
just shred me up
spawning
inside. Fair enough, yeah.
SCP-5303.
Not for
According
everyone.
to the records,
But for
discovery
people
occurred
who
when a
do like
civilian
oats,
hunter reported a disturbing sight in a
shit's
forest
cash.
in Utah. A girl with no eyes, weaving in and out between the trees. Foundation agents cordoned off the area.
I did
and
like
placed
Roundabout
observation
Game
cameras
for
at
what
the
it's
site
worth,
to
Quentin.
verify the hunter's story.
That was a
That
fun
very
one.
night, a college student named Carl Nigesi broke the perimeter and entered the surveillance area. A transcript is provided of the events. Nigesi sits on a tree branch for 2 minutes, appearing to be nervous. SCP-5303 emerges from an adjacent hole between several tree roots, along with a large quantity of smoke. "You're here," Nigesi announces, quite excited. He stands, and SCP-5303 walks over, stopping in front of him. "Finally," he says. "Now, okay, I know it's been long, I know. I've missed you. You missed me too?" SCP-5303 remains still. Nigesi chuckles and says, "You've always not been much of a talker." "Wait, shoot, I wrote a poem. I spent a bit on it. It's not too good, but it's about you. I wrote it about you." He begins searching through his backpack and soon resorts to dumping it on the ground. Foundation agents take the opportunity to begin approaching.
I love coffee.
It's not here," Nigesi gasps. Did I drop it? No, my bag was zipped. I couldn't have. I left it home maybe. I can run and get it. It's not too good, but you may like it. You may if you like bad poems, that is." He chuckles and then starts to head out of frame. He abruptly stops and turns around. "Really?" he asks. then stumbles back towards SCP-5303. He stands for a moment, then says, I may need to see for this. Nijisi pauses, listening to an unheard response. Well, he replies, if you insist. He puckers his lips and leans towards 5303. 28 pairs of disembodied eyes appear in the air around him, staring. The eyes occasionally glance at SCP-5303. It smirks and moves away from Nijisi. His body disappears, leaving only his eyes behind. They dart in all directions, staring at the other eyes.
I may have to sell my house. I make great money, but it's not enough now.
Foundation agents reach the scene at this moment and shoot
awful.
5303 with a tranquilizer.
I'm so sorry.
It collapses and the eyes demanifest, one pair
Did
at a
something
time.
change other than
Nijisi's
just
eyes stare at the agents,
the government
slightly,
failing
then
us all?
demanifest. SCP-5303 was transported to Site-24, placed
Fucking
in standard
late
humanoid
stage
containment,
capitalism?
and assigned a D-class personnel,
People letting
allowing it to
Reaganomics
see
run
its surroundings.
unchecked for fucking
Interviews
the past
with the D-class revealed that
however
contact
long,
with 5303,
50 years?
while allowing it to see with someone else's
Nearly?
eyes, produced only a white light for the owner of the eyes. This connected state also established a line of telepathy, though most of 5303's thoughts are unintelligible. Of the thoughts that could be discerned, most dealt with projecting a profound romantic hunger and sense of loneliness.
just inflation.
Researchers responsible for monitoring
sorry,
5303
it's tough
reported
out
a
there
distinct feeling
for
of being
everyone.
watched.
I hate that it's
Our
tough
next
out
entry
there
takes
for
us
all
out
of
of the
you.
woods and back
It's
into the safety of the home, in the cool, welcoming glow of a
the
spring.
worst.
Originally titled The Impossible Game, this tale resulted in SCP-4054, The Seventh Door. The record describes it as an unlicensed platform adventure game released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1988. The contents of each cartridge vastly exceeds the storage limitations of its ROM, read-only memory chip. Extracting SCP-4054's PRG ROM produces a data file too large to be contained on any currently available device. Because of its limited publication, 300 units, inability to be copied, limited
I'm disgusted
replayability,
by
and
landlords in
incomplete state,
general.
functional copies of The Seventh Door are highly valued by vintage NES collectors.
Very
The game is
few
also
of them
notable for its
are
unique method of bypassing the
good.
North American version of the 10 NES lockout system.
I have known
Each
good
cartridge
landlords,
includes two
but
transistors that function as a voltage inverter. When activated, this component produces
they're
a negative
few
charge
and
voltage
far
spike that
between.
can
They're
temporarily
very
disable
rare.
early versions of the console CIC, bypassing the authentication lock and allowing unlicensed cartridges to run. Later iterations of the NES would add a series of 1K resistors along with diodes and grounds to prevent this technique from circumventing the lockout unit. However,
Don't get
a
me wrong,
defect
I
in
own
this
some
voltage
property and
inverter's
take
design
care of my
causes
property
irreparable
tenants.
damage
That's
to the
good.
7 Door's
I'm
SRAM
happy to
4
hear
with
that.
each successive reset. This produces an increasing number of glitches which will inevitably render the cartridge non-functional. The 7th Door was shipped prior to completion. As a consequence, several core components of
Hello,
gameplay
Nerdia
differ
Kitty.
from what is
Hello,
depicted in its
Kika.
instruction manual
Are you
and
coming?
box art. The protagonist
Hi,
has no
Kika.
extra lives.
Kitty, kitty, kitty,
Upon
kitty.
dying, all progress is lost. The cartridge resets. All power-ups described in the manual are absent save one, the Hand of Glory, which prevents monsters and platforms from moving for 10 seconds. In European folklore, a Hand of Glory is the left hand of a man who has been hanged for murder. When used as a candle, those who perceive its light cannot approach its holder. All monsters are absent. Falling into a pit does not kill the protagonist. The protagonist
Here
will instead
comes
continue to
the
fall off-screen as the game over sound loops.
Hello,
Memory overflow errors periodically cause sprites to load incorrectly.
There he is.
The prisoners use the protagonist's sprite rather than their own. After unlocking a door, prisoners provide no clue regarding the location of other keys. The text boxes are empty. The protagonist dies at apparently random intervals, typically after a period of remaining still.
Hello, sir.
This occurs regardless
You're
of whether or
very
not the game is
cute,
paused.
and I love you very much.
To date, researchers have uncovered several hundred levels beyond the 7th, described in the manual as the final level and the
You're
location of
very
the 7th
cute.
key. These stages consist of vast networks of crypts, prisons, abandoned factories, and empty
You
underground
miss
cities.
him a bunch. I would too
The
if I
precise
was
number of
you.
additional levels
How's he
beyond
doing?
the 7th has not yet been determined, but
Uh,
vastly exceeds the
he's
storage
doing pretty
capacity of
good.
the cartridge's ROM
He gained
chip.
all of his weight back,
The 7th level does not contain
and
the
then
7th key.
some.
A video
He's
stream was
huge.
captured in 2004, conducted by Charles Rogers under the username Inky49, in which he attempted to beat the 7th door by using a game genie to manipulate the values in the code. The record reports that partway through his run, the
Yeah,
video
it's
stopped.
Kika. Sorry that I
Investigation
just
revealed that
stopped
Rogers had
working and
disappeared,
started paying
leaving only
attention
the fingernails of
to
his left hand inside the
Kika, but
alien's
he is
console.
an elderly cat
Further
and
investigation
he
revealed
is
that
sick.
SCP-4054 was
So
linked
I
to
don't know how much
25
time I have with him.
disappearances.
So whenever he wants
Would you
attention,
to
I
hear
like
about
to
a
give
slightly
him
more accessible game now?
undivided
Maybe something a bit
attention
more modern.
for
Enter the tale
at least a couple
I Spy
minutes.
Sorrow, a first-person anonymous narrative of a mobile game by someone who usually ignored them. This story resulted in SCP-1590,
is just one hell
the
of a
Book of
cat.
Tamlin.
Yes, he is.
Attempts to view SCP-1590's coding reveals only the numbers 1 through 66,666 in numerical order.
I tried
The
to let him come
application itself
outside with
posits
me
to
the
be a
other
game wherein
night
the user has to find certain
when
objects in a cluttered image.
I was spraying
The
out
game
their
always begins
litter
with a
boxes. I was
dedication
like
screen containing the
pressure
message,
washing
"To
them with the
Joey,
hose,
who taught me
basically.
how to be cool."
Hey, thanks, Your
And
Highness.
the
Appreciate
Kinganatsu
last
you.
person to play the
1993
game,
cheered.
who almost made it out.
But
The content
is
then
the
shifts to an
second that I
animated
walked
scene.
away from him, he
The silhouette of a
housed.
humanoid
He just
stands on the deck of what appears
very,
to be an oil
very
tanker.
fast
The
ate an
screen turns
entire
bright light,
dandelion,
then returns to the
greens and
previous
all.
scene. A yellow wall,
It's
larger
bullshit.
than the ship, has been
I find it
added to the
highly
scene.
unfair that I have to work
The
6
wall's
days a
appearance
week to
causes
make
a wave to
ends
wash over
meet
the
while the
ship,
boss's
and the
son
wave
makes over
carries the
60K a
humanoid
year
overboard.
to sit in
The
his
screen
cabin all
fills with
day, doesn't
bubbles,
even live on
and
his
the
own.
words, "The Book
Yeah,
of
that's
Tamlin" and
that's
"Start
horse shit.
Game" appear
That's
overlaid on the
fucking
bubbles.
horse shit.
When a user picks Start Game, the title screen
Dix
fades
Insider,
away to an image
you
of a
gotta-
crowded room. The user is presented with a series of tasks, directing them to find objects hidden in the image.
I don't mean to like.
The images and objects are different for every
No, you know what?
rounder
I'm
of the
just gonna
game.
stop
The
and
user is
say
also given a
solidarity.
time limit,
Like, I'm
which
sorry.
ranges
I'm
anywhere
sorry
between
that
1
that's
and 12
happening to
minutes.
you.
Once the
It's
user
happening
completes a
to
task, they are
so
given
many
a
of
set
my
of
working
doors to
class
choose from
friends,
to move further on in the
and
game. The
just-
tasks begin benignly.
yeah,
move on
your-
to tasks more personal to the subject.
your
and end
government
with
has
tasks
failed
that are
you.
very
Your
personal
government has
and
let
often insulting in
capitalism.
nature.
The almighty
The game
dollar
continues through a
is
random
worth
number
more than
of
human
rooms,
life.
from 7 to
now.
43.
And
random
it's
point in the game, or if the user fails to
the
complete
most
the task in the
devastating
required amount of
fucking
time,
thing.
The player will find themselves in an empty room.
It
The
is
following
so
words
upsetting.
appear on the screen. You found out everything there is to find about
I'm
the
also
house.
getting real tired
Now
of
all you
every
have left
major
to
company and
find is the
corporation
way out.
reporting over the moon
At this
profits
point, the
and
game
worker
ends
let goes.
and cannot be
Agree,
replayed by the same user.
Azuma. It's
Within
not
72
okay.
hours of finishing the
It's
game,
not
the door the
okay.
user opens
Like,
will connect to what appears
there
to be a
is
room
no
from the game.
infinite
Attempts
growth
to
when
follow
there is
users through said
finite
doorway have so
capital.
far met with failure. Any tracking devices
Like,
cease to
anybody
transmit after the user
can see
passes through
that.
the doorway. After 72 hours
Stock
of finishing
buybacks
the
to
game,
line the pockets
any
of their
door opened
CEO
by
and
the
high
user will
corporate
result
structure.
in the
Yep,
altered
it's
doorway,
bullshit.
although no
It's
compulsion
absolute
exists to
fucking
force them through
garbage.
it. If another person attempts to open a door for the subject, there is still a chance it will open
Conservatism
into an altered
is
room.
a fucking
At no point may anyone who has not finished the
scourge.
game enter such a room. All attempts to do so result in entering the room the doorway normally opens into. Several tests were run on the Book of Tamlin using personnel. The first log concerns a member of D-Class, number 1534. Activity becomes notable upon reaching room 8, a farmyard filled with animals. Subject
Alright,
says
Kika, I
it
have
was
to
the farm
start
owned by his
crocheting
uncle,
again.
where his
Baby
parents
kitty,
used to
I
tell
love
him
you
they
so
had taken his
much.
pets. His task was, find the graves of all 7
love
of your
my
childhood pets
kitty.
your parents told you ran away. Room 17 was a boys' locker room, filled with children. Subject identifies as being from his middle school. Records indicate subject was involved in multiple altercations at said school. The task read, find the 13 boys who made your childhood a living hell. Room 22 was a darkened room. The lighting source flickers every couple of
Man,
seconds.
Dix Insider, I
Dismembered
hope that
human bodies are
things
strewn
turn around for
haphazardly
you. I
about
hope
the
that you
otherwise
don't have
empty
to
room.
sell your house.
Subject pales. Visible faces correspond with those the subject was convicted of murdering, plus 3 missing persons. D-1534 was told, find the 4 organs. You know which ones. Room 23. Inside a crowded church. Subject refuses to identify. Investigation reveals church likely to be St. Mary's in subject's hometown of Royale. Records indicate subject was
Mine
a
just
church
shut
member
down
in
a
good
branch
standing
after
of
a year
said
of
church for
increased
17
profits.
years, until
I'm not
2 locals
surprised though
turned
I
him in for
predicted
his
it
crimes.
and that my branch
The
will go 2
instruction
years
here,
after that one. Let's wait and
find 2
see. I hope
dirty
it
little
doesn't. I
snitches.
hope that
This led
I
to
hope
the
that
interior
something
of a courtroom,
fucking
the
changes.
same where 1534 was sentenced. Here he was told to find the 12 people who ended his life. 12
Maxi
hours
chat is
later,
best
the
chat.
anomalous effect concerning
Cheering,
doors occurred, as
you did great.
D-1534 opened one into a
You
room
did
with a
it
similar
just
appearance to the
fine.
locker room from the Book of Tamlin. He charged in, and screaming was heard before the door shut by itself. Other logs detail similar experiences as the app produced more and more deeply personal
sweet
rooms
boy.
and insulting circumstances,
Sweet
some
Kika.
of which were unknown to the players. Anyone who entered the final door appearing in reality was lost, along with any lines of communication they were equipped with. That's 2 games found
the
in the more
best
modern sense of the
kitty.
term, and 3 altogether, each one largely solo player. Perhaps now you'd care for something that allows for a few friends along the way.
It sucks that corruption ruins everything
Last
great.
Game Show is
It's
a
true.
tale uploaded to Creepy Stories portal about a group of
Oh,
friends
you hope it does?
celebrating their
Oh,
first
okay,
autumn
then I
together
hope it
after
does
high
too, I
school.
guess.
All 4
I
of
don't know
them
what to
having skipped
say.
down on the immediate transfer to college.
Do you at least have
A
any
night of
equity in your
anything goes
home?
planning results in
Yeah,
a bout
that's
of urban
a good
exploration.
point. Would you
and
be able to
establishes
keep
a
all the
legend
money
that's
from a
detailed in
sale?
the entry for SCP-024. Originally
Or
a
any of the
non-anomalous
money?
abandoned soundstage, anomalous properties began manifesting sometime around closure of the building. Discovery occurred following testimony by the remaining member of a group of youths who had broken in, who described herself as the only winner in a sadistic game show during the initial police interview. Upon entering 024, visitors are immediately greeted by an anonymous announcer, who communicates via intercom and is able to hear and comprehend the voices of people within 024. The announcer will inform the contestants that
You
they are
own
about to take part in a game show in
So
which
it's
the
just like
winners will
the
win
property
fabulous
taxes
prizes,
that are too
but
much?
it will also warn that the game will be extremely hazardous, and that the losers will never leave 024. It is at this point the announcer presents the
shit.
choice of whether to stay
I'm gonna
or
start this
leave.
one over. I'm sorry, I want to
Contestants who
pay
accept
attention.
will continue to participate in the
Sorry.
game, while those who decline are immediately greeted by an anonymous announcer. Care for something that allows
Sorry,
for a few friends
sorry.
along the way. The Last Game Show is a tale uploaded to Creepy Stories portal about a group of friends celebrating their first autumn together after high school, all 4 of them having skipped out on the immediate transfer to college. A night of anything goes planning results in a bout of urban exploration, and establishes a legend that's detailed in the entry for SCP-024. Originally a non-anomalous abandoned soundstage, anomalous properties began manifesting sometime around closure of the building. Discovery occurred following testimony by the remaining member of a group of youths who had broken in, who described herself as the only winner in a sadistic game show during the initial police interview.
Okay.
Upon entering 024, visitors are immediately greeted by an anonymous announcer, who communicates via intercom and is able to hear and comprehend the voices of people within 024. The announcer will inform the contestants that they are about to take part in a game show in which the winners will win fabulous prizes, but will also warn that the game will be extremely hazardous, and that the losers will never leave 024. It is at this point the announcer presents the choice of whether to stay or leave. Contestants who accept will continue to participate in the game, while those who decline are immediately expelled from
Just the
024.
cost to live is getting
Contestants
ridiculous.
that win the game or
Taxes
decline to
went from
participate
$700
may
a year
never
to
enter
over
024
$1,200.
again,
Yeah,
as entry is denied by an impenetrable invisible barrier. It is then that contestants are led to the actual game. The style, composition, and appearance of the game changes in every individual playthrough, but the game is always centered around a long, elaborate obstacle course that the contestants must navigate. The rules also vary. Some playthroughs may only allow a single winner, while others encourage the creation of teams to win. More often than not, obstacles seen in these games range from incredibly benign to extremely hazardous and life-threatening. As contestants attempt to negotiate the course, the announcer will continuously update their status and actively participate in the game, often giving advice, conversing with contestants, and adding new rules. As the game progresses, the obstacles become significantly more dangerous and difficult to overcome, and it is not surprising to have the entire pool of contestants succumb to the rigors of the obstacle course. If such an event happens, the announcer will express sadness at the lack of a winner, and 024 will shut down, resetting only when a new batch of contestants enter. Any attempts to break the rules, such as assaulting other contestants and deliberately bypassing obstacles, are met by extreme violence. The announcer will call out the offending contestant, who will be quickly and forcefully ejected from the course by studio guardians. These studio guardians will immediately materialize within 024 when called upon by the announcer, and disappear when not needed. The contestant will never be seen again. When a winner is declared, he or she will receive a random grand
I
prize.
do not know what that means.
Any
Sticks
contestants that have
Insider.
survived the course but failed to win are immediately declared losers by the announcer. The lights will switch off, and the winner will immediately appear outside of 024 with his or her prize while the losers completely disappear. However, the most mysterious aspect of 024 is that after every game, a VHS tape or DVD will appear in the mailbox outside of 024's main entrance. This recording is a complete record of the entire game that was previously played, even though winners have claimed that they had never seen any cameras or recording devices inside. Also, more strangely, a live studio audience can be seen in the background cheering on the contestants. Again, winners have claimed not to have seen a live studio audience while inside SCP-024.
Gotcha.
According to the addendum, the prizes collected by winners are quite typical of those seen on non-anomalous game shows. Cash jackpots, electronics, cars, and vacations, for example. They have no anomalous properties and are entirely legitimate. Attempts to trace losers from a group of D-Class sent to play the game failed. It's unknown whether their signal beacons were destroyed or the losers were transported to a location that couldn't be traced. The announcer inside O24 is sentient and aware of events outside the compound. A doctor who entered was allowed to hold a conversation with the entity, the contents of which suggests that O24 gains intelligence through television signals. Cutting power lines and communications to the building had no effect on O24's ability to operate. The studio guardians appear in outfits that match the theme of the obstacle course, whatever it may be, and all wear face-obscuring masks or headgear. Winners who have caught a sight of the guardians are only able to describe them as huge shadowy figures that engulf offenders attempting to break rules. Our next tale takes us back outside and into a more natural form of obstacle course.
That was
a story
fun.
called The Black Veil is the source of SCP-5152, a spectral entity inhabiting a northern heavily forested region of Yukon, Canada, designated as SCP-5152-1. According to the record, the anomaly takes the form of a semi-corporeal humanoid wearing a black veil that obscures its face and body. SCP-5152 also possesses two branch-like appendages in place of hands that extend down the full length of its body, sometimes visible protruding from under the veil. 5152 is generally only visible from the perspective of one individual at a time, although it occasionally makes itself known to small groups. If 5152 is near a group of individuals, it may remain nearby for several hours at a time, eventually disappearing out of view. However, if 5152 is near a single individual, it may begin following them, walking at a slow pace towards them. This will change if the target individual attempts to directly observe SCP-5152, resulting in its temporary disappearance. 5152 will continue following the target individual until they leave 5152-1 or join with a group. An exploration log was conducted following discovery of the anomaly using D-Class member 511904. He was equipped with the standard recording equipment, a thermal jacket, and a flashlight, then instructed to walk in a constant eastward direction through 5152-1. Almost immediately after entry, 511904 was asked if he saw anything unusual. He reported just snow and trees, but asked if he really had to be sent in at sunset. Control replied that it was only 4:38 p.m., and the exploration was being conducted in May. 13 minutes later, 904 asked if anyone else had been sent in. Control replied, negative, and 904 claimed to hear footsteps in the snow. Where are they coming from? Control asked. Behind me, I think, the D-Class answered. I can only hear it when I'm walking. If I stop, I can hear it stop after me. Control shared that they believe an entity may have been following the D-Class and said, your best course of action is to keep moving. 2 minutes pass.
Yeah, I know.
The
You've
snapping
been
sound is
very
heard,
you've been
causing
very
904 to
generous with
stop.
me.
I keep feeling like something's right behind me, he said.
I feel
hear it,
awful that you're struggling. I
breathing,
think that you're an incredibly
crunching through the
generous,
snow.
very sweet
So
person.
close, but every time I turn around,
And it's not
nothing's
fair
there.
that somebody that works as hard as
Noted,
you and
Control
loves
replied.
as hard as you
Please continue. 15 minutes
is
later,
being
904 reaches
pushed
a
out
clearing
of
with a
your
wooden cabin in
home
the
that you
center
own.
and claims to remember
It's-
it,
That's
or a place like it.
I just
How so? Control
I
asks.
fucking
Do
hate
you remember any
Republicans.
details?
I fucking hate
I
Republicans.
can
I
if
hate
I try, 904
billionaires. I think
Thing
that they
is,
are all
pretty sure you
evil
guys
and
wiped my memory.
complicit.
Can't remember anything before I was in my cell. Good play. Except, this cabin. I remember something. It's like re-entered my brain. 904 pauses to think as he approaches the cabin, then speaks. I remember walking to school through a forest like this. My family lived in this little village miles away from town, and in the winter it got too snowy for us to drive there, so I went alone. I walked for hours and I arrived like halfway through classes, but I still wanted to go every day. I was, a weird kid. And do you think it may have been here you walked through, Control asks?
Hello, kitty kitty.
It certainly reminds me of the place. Where is this? You are located in northern Yukon, Canada. You know, it could be the same place, the D-Class said. That's funny. That's funny. 904 reaches the cabin and is given permission to enter. Control reports that the camera seems to be malfunctioning and requires a description of the interior. It's empty, 904 reports. Just a bunch of planks on the floor. Good condition, though. This place must have belonged to somebody. That's funny. When asked if there are other rooms, 904 responds that it's a little dark, and then seems to get caught on something, remaining silent for 20 seconds. Then he resumes. There's one other room, very small. He's
North Carolina midterm elections are going on right now, and there's
weird.
nothing but
Looks
Republican
like the one I
candidates
used
in
to
one of the
have is,
categories. Like, I don't want to fill in a single one of those bubbles.
There's nothing else in the room, Control S?
You should write
Nothing
someone
that I
in.
can see,
You should
904
like
says.
you.
Noted. Leave the cabin.
If people
D511
see
904
how
turns around
low
to leave
the
room,
voter
but is
numbers
intercepted
are
by SCP-5152
for
standing in front of the
specific
door. Its claws are raised
categories,
above its head.
they'll be
904
encouraged
exclaims,
to
demanding
run.
it to get away from him.
Good night,
5152
Brian.
approaches, but
Sleep
is
well.
unsuccessful as 904 kicks through a nearby window and escapes into the woods. 1.3 hours of footage follow, described as inconsequential. When 904 speaks, he claims the play seems to go on forever. Have you heard any footsteps since you escaped the creature? Control asks. No, 904 answers. That thing scared the living daylights out of me. It's weird though. I was telling you about the walk to school earlier. More's coming back to me now. Something about that creature. It's funny. 904 sighs. A moment of silence follows, then he resumes. After school, me and my friends would walk back home together. I would always be the last one left, of course.
So I'm happy that it's going
Sometimes when
so
we were
well.
there, we heard these weird noises. Far
Is it the
off
one
in
that you
deeper
went on the
forest.
date with?
We'd see stuff move too. We thought they were elk. Deer? Now I'm not so sure. Maybe if this is the place, maybe it wants me back. Your entity. Maybe that's what I saw. Isn't that funny? Acknowledged, Control says. Yeah.
You went out with
904
3
says
people
back.
so far? Okay.
14 minutes later, 904 begins running, breathing heavily.
Yeah,
He
I'm really
reports
happy
he saw
that
the gap,
you have
passing through a gap in the
found somebody that
trees.
you're feeling really
It's
positive
absolutely
about.
following me, he says.
That's very exciting.
Do you hear anything abnormal? Control
First one was
asks.
okay, but not for me. Second
904
guy was an
stops running and
asshole, and this guy
says,
is a dork
"It's
I
just
vibe with.
silence.
Fuck yeah, I love a
barely
dork
hear
that
the
you
wind."
vibe with. Hell yeah.
SCP-5152 suddenly emerges near 511-904 and begins walking towards him at an increased pace, emitting
Well,
a
definitely
low-pitched groaning
don't
sound.
feel
904 screams, falling to
like
the ground.
you are obligated to be here by any means. I hope that you're having a great time. I definitely want you
The
to
sound
be
of a bell ringing
having
in the
fun
distance
with
is
cute
heard.
dorks.
The D-Class cries out, "Leave me alone! Get away from me, you thing! What are you? Why did you follow me as a boy? What do you want from me?" His headcam falls to the ground. SCP-5152 begins extending its claws and covers D511-904 under its veil before demanifesting. D511-904 is taken along with it. Footsteps can be heard in the snow, moving away until they are no longer picked up by the microphone. Only present on the headset, command is heard saying, "Noted, please continue." There, the record ends. Encounters with mysterious beings are some of my favorites. But then again, I'm rather biased to it, aren't I? Still, I have a feeling you may enjoy another selection in this vein. Someone You Know was the title of the story that spawned SCP-1026, which, upon capture, was placed inside a reinforced cell. Observation was established to be only remote, performed through security cameras with a broadcast delay of no less than 13.6 seconds. According to the record, SCP-1026 is an entity that produces a powerful mental effect on any human observer who views it directly. This effect causes observers to become completely convinced that SCP-1026 is someone who they know and trust, typically a family member or close friend. There is currently no known way to convince the observer otherwise. This effect will continue for approximately 1 hour after they are removed from SCP-1026's presence. This effect is present even
Ooh, it
when
is
viewed
definitely
indirectly,
time
such
for a
as through
quick
camera
commercial
feeds,
break,
although
y'all.
this effect can be
Everybody hang
mitigated by the
tight. We'll
presence
be
of a
back
long enough
shortly. I'm
broadcast
going to
delay.
pause this 3 to 5 minutes and we'll be back. I've run really long. We'll be back shortly. can't poop. I can't fucking poop. I'm upset. I feel like I gotta. Dixon Cider says, I hope you don't hate me for being conservative. I don't hate you even remotely. I think that you are misinformed about the economy. And that's what I think about all of my friends who are conservative and kind. I think that anybody that is upset about the state of the economy and is a conservative, it has not done thorough research into how the economy works. The reason that you don't have any money is because other conservatives are making it so that you don't get to have as much money as their rich friends. So you should really, really fucking hate the conservatives, to be perfectly honest with you. Had a really good shit the other day and it was glorious. I'm jealous. Jealous as hell. Actually, you know what? I do hate any conservative who is just anti-woman, anti-gay people, anti-brown people. I do hate those people. I hate racists. I hate any of the phobics. I hate them. That's just true. Ronald Reagan started a horrible, horrible thing. And conservatives since then have been like, hey, this can make us richer. Who cares what happens to the rest of America? And it's been slow, but now we are all paying for it. Hi, Quinn. Yeah, we are still going. I think that... What was the name of your favorite one? Was it the Roundabout game? Because we did see that one already. I liked it. And then there was also the Last Game Show. I don't remember if it was one of those two or maybe even something different. There's still 20 minutes left of this video. They sent us home due to a COVID outbreak. So my week has gotten lots more open. That's nice. Neoliberalism destroyed politics, and how? And fucking how? Okay, My cursor has disappeared. Give it a second and we'll be back. There it is. Can I get 4 readies in chat, please? It was Roundabout game? Yeah, I did like it. I thought it was very cool. I don't know, Docs. Can you? I don't know what that's in regards to. I'm so sorry. My brain is awful and bad. Oh, can I get a ready in chat? Heyo. Sperry coming in hot with the attitude. Oh, God. They always were like that, too. They were like, yes, you may. Hey, James. Thanks for the 5 bits. I appreciate
James Rocks 18 cheered.
Thanks. Yeah, I have 1 ready. I need 4 before I can continue, please and thanks. Y'all, look it. We're finally doing the lace. It's finally happening. I'm so happy. That's 2. That's 2 readies. We're going to get our lobby dodged. Yeah, we're going to time out the lobby. That's 3. We only need 1 more. I also am bad at fingers. I can't bend my pinky without also bending my ring finger. Does anybody else have that? Does everybody else have that? Is there anybody that can bend their pinky all the way without... Am I like... Is this indicative of something wrong with me? All right, it looks like we have all of our readies. I will stop.
has revealed that a minimum of 13.6
Apologies.
seconds is required to neutralize 1026's effect. When viewed in such a manner, or through other media such as photographs, SCP-1026 appears as a blurry, roughly humanoid entity. It appears to flicker, rapidly changing height, shape, and color. 1026 seems to be capable of speech. However, this speech sounds extremely garbled and distorted to those not under its anomalous effects.
They're connected,
Those
but I
who are
can
under
use
its
them
effects
solo.
perceive it as perfectly normal
I
human
can't.
speech appropriate for the given situation. SCP-1026 has also displayed reasoning and problem-solving abilities on par with those of the human. Following capture,
I'm trying to
testing was
cheat
approved for
even,
direct
and I
encounters with
can't do it.
SCP-1026 using D-Class personnel. 5582 was told to enter the testing area and perform a series of experiments to gather information on 1026's physiology. He was equipped with a camera and sent into the containment chamber.
I learned it from playing Cat's
5582
Cradle,
reported
like,
seeing his mother, and was
way
infuriated at
back
her
in the day
capture.
when I was like
Garbled
little,
speech
like
was reported from the
6.
entity, and D-5582 swore he would get them out.
3 tendons
He
between
demanded
4
his
fingers? I
mother's
didn't know
release,
that.
And when the observing
I
doctor
did not
assured
know
the
that.
D-Class it was not his mother, the statement fell on deaf ears.
There's a bunch of stuff moving around
5582
in
attempted
there.
to throw equipment at the speaker, then began crying. The assigned doctor informed the D-Class that the test was now terminated, and he was instructed to leave the chamber.
Okay,
While
that's 2
5582
out of
refused to
6.
leave, SCP-1026 approached from behind.
Still
then
know a
seized his
bunch?
shoulders.
Yeah, I only know a
1026
few,
spun him around
but
and stared at his face, resulting in violent
it was
convulsions
very
from
fun.
5582.
It was cool to play with
His
people.
body began to flicker in a manner similar to 1026. The observing doctor commented, "There's 2 of them," and watched as SCP-1026 and D-5582 moved towards the test chamber door as security arrived. 1026 and its D-Class hostage immediately broke
So
containment
sorry
and
about
proceeded to
this,
kill
that I
several members
made
of the
like a
security team
huge
while
mess
wounding
out
many
of
more. This was
the
largely in
inner
part to
workings of my
SCP-1026's mental
skein of
effect.
yarn.
One of the entities, then assigned the designation of SCP-1026-A, was lured into temporary holding, while the other, 1026-B, escaped the site. An addendum report reveals that 1026-B was later located 2 miles from the Foundation sector where 1026-A had been moved, and a security team was sent to dispatch it, resulting in accidental
Clara.
neutralization.
What
A
the fuck is
facility
Cat's
doctor was
Cradle?
assigned to perform an
You can.
autopsy on
It's
what
so
now
so
appeared to be a
easy.
normal human cadaver.
I
The
guarantee
first
you that
incision
there are
on the
people
abdomen
that will
revealed no
teach
internal
you
organs.
on
Instead, there was a single
YouTube
large
how to do
sac full
Cat's
of
Cradle
fog,
stuff, but you
seemingly
need
denser
2
than
people
air.
for it.
Moving on, the doctor noted, subject does not appear to possess a normal thoracic cage. Instead,
I would just
there are 2
just
curved
Google
plates attached to the spinal column in its place.
how to play
There appears
Cat's
to be a pair of
Cradle.
organs beneath these. The organs appeared solid, with no signs of fluid or gas. The doctor moved
Or,
on
like,
to the
search it
skull,
on
which was
YouTube.
abnormally smooth and absent of cranial sutures. The eye sockets were present, but lacking optic canals and orbital fissures. The jaw, he said, appears to be fused to the rest of the skull, and there are no teeth. The brain was entirely absent, with the mysterious fog from the abdomen found in its place.
There we go, there we
The
go.
doctor moved to take a sample,
Oh, hell
only
yes.
to pause as the
I'm
fog
the
began
greatest who ever
glowing.
lived.
He complained of a sudden headache.
Oh,
and
hell
after 12
yes.
seconds said, "Jesus Christ, this hurts."
Bow the
What?
fuck down,
The
Doxy
log
Chat.
ended
I
there,
am a
thanks to sudden
goddess.
loss of power. On arrival, the security team found no sign that any autopsy had occurred. SCP-1026's
Everybody
body was
lay down
intact,
in their
and the
tight
doctor had
pants,
no
and
memory
I'm
of what
going to
happened.
step just a little
The
bit
autopsy that
too
followed
hard on
revealed
all of your
normal human
testicles
physiology
once in a row.
and no mysterious fog. One of the most notable concerns from this report comes from the original observation doctor. These things can reproduce. If there's more of them out there,
Is there going to be
we
a
could have
season 2 of
serious
Squid
problem
Game?
on our hands. Let this serve as another cautionary tale for all of those of a trusting nature. Be sure you really do know who you think you're talking to. As for our next entry, I feel I might have teased some of you a bit with mention of urban exploration earlier, because I know it's a hunger that's never quite satisfied. So to that end, allow me to offer
Thank
you
you.
this.
Thank you, chat.
SCP-1919 is described as an early 20th century hotel and converted mansion. Location redacted.
Zips
The
latex
building
suit.
has sunk partially into the
They've
ground on the eastern
greenlit
side.
2 more
It
seasons.
is still traversable.
I really
but
liked the
additional
first
safety
season. I thought it was
precautions are
good.
necessary.
I
From the
loved the
outside,
old man,
SCP-1919
and
looks much as it did when
I
it was
don't want to
first
say
built.
anything else in
On the
case.
inside,
I mean,
however,
it's still
the
new
building
enough
is
that I would feel
massively
bad if I
decrepit
spoiled
and
it
looks
for
like it has been
anybody.
abandoned
But
since
I
creation.
think it's great.
Many floorboards and ceilings are rotten or absent entirely, and various forms of damage, water damage,
4,
collapsed
5.
debris, cover much of the interior. Entry of the hotel by a human results in the appearance of a number of humanoid beings throughout the building, which resemble the subject and wear and carry anything the subject possesses with him on arrival. These creatures, collectively labeled SCP-1919-1,
Fire
typically
tacos.
vary from the original in several physical aspects.
Josiah is gonna make a stir
Observed
fry
variation
later, and
between
I'm fucking
subjects and
I'm so
counterparts
jazzed.
include
We
the
have
following.
a whole ton of fresh
Lack of body
produce
hair,
for it.
misshapen cranial structure, patches of skin discoloration, variance
And we
in
got
limb/digit
some.
length,
We
disfigurement
got
of the mouth,
stewing
sealed/missing
steak,
eyelids, sealed nostrils, perforations of various sizes in skin,
and we got chicken.
elongated/deformed jaw structure. SCP-1919-1
But we're
is
trying
responsible
to
for the
eat
decrepit state of the
mainly
building.
vegetarian
Individuals
and
have
vegan.
been recorded upending furniture, tearing out
just because
floorboards,
it's better
damaging
for
pipes, and otherwise causing small-scale
the
destruction.
environment, and
The fact they are
also
capable of this makes the reason why only 3 have
it's
attempted to escape
healthier.
the building to
And
this date
also,
unclear.
your food didn't
All
used to
observed
be
creatures
something
labeled
that I
SCP-1919-1
undoubtedly would have been like,
behaved in a similar
"Aw,"
manner.
at, you know what I mean?
Individually, they act aggressively with or without provocation, attempting
You're
to
literally
damage
eating
objects and
stir fry, that's
structures at
funny.
random.
Are
They
you,
also demonstrate a
you
marked
having it
increase
with
in
rice?
hostility once they locate the subject or subjects who enter SCP-1919.
we also have decided to
This
start
behavior,
baking our own
however, seems
bread,
not to extend to each other. Rather, they are predisposed to
has
form
been
large
going
coordinated
really
groups
well.
upon encountering more of their kind. The largest observed group thus far was responsible
We didn't
for
have a bread
incapacitating
pan
Task Force Tau
until
11.
yesterday,
As a whole, 1919-1
so we had to
exhibits
make it
swarm
in a
intelligence akin
bundt
to that of an
cake
ant
pan the
colony.
first time,
It is yet
but it
unknown
actually was
specifically how they
surprisingly
communicate,
dope.
but they have proven to be able to do so quickly and non-verbally. While unverified, all signs point
Yep,
to
white rice.
1919-1
Hell yeah.
possessing an organ system that allows it to send and receive
We had to
signals
get
via
white rice this
pheromones.
time too. I
The
typically
fact
like
that
wild
killing or
rice,
wounding
but
one, even noiselessly and out of the presence of others,
we had to get
attracts
white
all
rice
within an
last time
estimated
we got
40-meter
rice.
radius directly towards the one harmed corroborates this.
it also makes your
Expedition
house
3 saw
smell amazing.
SCP-1919-1 cause only one immediate fatality among TF Tau 11. The rest of the task force was disfigured in many of the same ways as their duplicates. Video footage suggests that this change
Nexari,
in
you should
behavior
look
was
up.
deliberate and not the result of
You should
successful
look up fun
self-defense.
bread recipes. I have
4
been
task
doing.
members succumbed to their injuries within a week of leaving the building. Despite sustaining severe damage to the lower jaw,
I'm
another task
an
member
idiot.
was
Oh
reported
shit!
by
I shouldn't
medical
have done
staff
that
to have
last
repeated
one.
the phrase
Whoops.
in
Well,
the
that's
picture
okay.
intermittently before falling unconscious. This member died en route to Foundation treatment facilities.
You love
Analysis
rice.
of
I
footage from
also
the task force
love rice.
expedition has been
I
pointed to being
really
inside
like
the building
sushi
responsible
rice,
for
and I would
creation
love
of
to
all
eat
observed
it
instances
with
of
everything,
1919-1.
but it's so expensive.
The new primary objective of all efforts
But, like,
concerning
it's
the
my
SCP
favorite kind
is
of
the
rice. I really like
identification,
sticky
retrieval,
rice.
and containment of said being. Evidence within the expedition logs enlightens us on the nature of the anomaly.
Don't know
In
if
the
this is weird,
first,
but I
a
love
D-class
eating
member
raw
was sent
dough
into the
too,
building,
especially the dough I
observed by a
make
researcher and a
when
member of the
making
task
pierogies.
force.
I don't think that's weird. I think
During
a lot of people
exploration,
do.
The body camera picked up a
I'm not
tattered
crazy
portrait
about
of a
it,
young red-haired
but
woman.
I know that like
Much of the
my
canvas was shredded,
cousins
including the
and like
majority
aunts
of
and
the
uncles and
woman's
stuff.
face. On a second expedition,
they
3
would
D-class
eat my
personnel were sent in
grandma's
with low-grade ballistic
dough.
weapons. Several of the 1919-1 instances were encountered,
Oh my God,
driving
my
the
dude.
expedition crew to
Have you
the
ever
3rd
had
floor, on which a
pilaf?
loud
I
whining
have.
noise was picked
I
up by
am
the
a
microphones.
fan.
One D-class member began to sense something strange.
Nine-tailed
and
fox
soon said, "She can
2009.
hear you."
Hello just came from
body
Lion's
cameras
stream,
picked
and
up
she
a
wanted
faint
us to
glow
meet
beneath
another
one of the
streamer in
closed
Makers and
doors, and
Crafting.
the D-class
What are
members
you working on
approached.
currently? If you,
According to the
Nine-tailed
report,
fox,
the door opens,
want
and the light on the
to
other side becomes visibly
put
brighter.
either
The two
the
cameras pick up
squiggly
several frames of
tilde,
the female
the
human
Spanish
silhouette moving
squiggly that
quickly in
goes
her
over
direction before
N,
cutting to static for the remainder of battery life.
pattern in chat,
Concurrently,
or
the camera
exclamation
attached to
point pattern also works.
D4076 picks up an unusual sound in
It
addition
will
to the
give you a
pitch
link
noted by
to the
Dr.
pattern,
Markowitz.
and there's a picture
Foundation
of what the
records
finished
include the
object
sound
will look
detected at
like
this point.
too.
And for your
This
benefit,
is going to be
I have
going in my
provided a
shop.
sample.
It's probably a size like large. I measured it today, and it's 36. It's in between 36 and 37 inches at the waist. So it probably a large or an extra large. So if that's something that interests you and you don't feel like making it, it will be available in my shop as soon as I have my
Now,
shop up and
for our
running,
final
which
entry
will be
tonight,
soon. We
the
decided
most
that
mysterious
I
of
have
the
to
selections,
make
an
my
anomaly
shop
conjured by a
after this
story
project.
titled,
So,
It Looks Back.
and then I think that we're
The
going to
report on
do
SCP-3117
bag,
describes it as a recurring dream triggered via exposure to certain components. These components
market
take the
bag
form of
after
specific
that,
ideas,
and we'll put that in the
concepts,
shop
phrases,
too.
and images. While exposure to all components are
In the
required to
second
trigger
wave
occurrences
of,
of SCP-3117,
the shop being open
these
or whatever.
components can be spread across multiple forms of media, including film, audio, print, and still images. Consequently,
Yeah.
no one source is known to contain all components.
That's so beautiful. I love it.
responsible
It's
for
a
triggering
free
3117.
pattern, baby.
Although subjects
So if you decide that you would rather make it,
the following symptoms have been
by
noted
all
among those
means,
who
you can
have
do
or
that.
will
Or
experience
if you
SCP-3117.
want, this is
An
going up in my
aversion to
shop.
discussing or describing
Oh my goodness,
3117.
James Rocks, thank you so
Suspicion
much
that they
for
are
the
receiving
biddies. I
James
orders
Rocks
appreciate
regarding
18
it.
cheered.
3117.
Wolfpack in
A growing
Dollhouse.
sense of urgency, inevitability, and or dread, in the belief that they are being watched. In approximately 1 out of 7 cases, subjects who experience 3117
Phase
will
2
go
of
missing
stocking the
shortly
shop
after
is
the
also
dream's
going
first
to include a
occurrence.
lot of chokers.
Investigations into the phenomenon are ongoing.
And I'm going to make myself some
Discovery
chokers
occurred when a member
too.
of the
So
Global
if you
Occult
guys
Coalition
want to
contacted
look
the
like
Foundation
Zero
to
Doxy,
initiate a
you'll be
transfer
able
of
to have
378 items, several hundred documents, digital files, photographs,
the,
and one Betamax tape.
choker
Documents
and the
from
ballerina
Global
shirt
Occult
that I have
Coalition's
made
initial
for
investigation
myself.
are provided in the report. The first being an interview
You just make
transcript
blankets
from
and a
2001.
amigurumi.
A subject,
Yo, can
codenamed
you keep a
Gamma,
secret,
is being
nine-tailed
interviewed by
fox?
agents Ladybug and Voodoo. Ladybug asked Gamma to tell them about a
Can you
dream they
keep a
had,
secret?
which prompted the interview.
Chat has already sworn their
I'm
secrecy
in a woods
to
or
me.
a park, something like that, Gamma begins. I'm walking down a path. Concrete, I think.
But if you can keep a
hiking
secret,
path.
you can? Okay.
There's something
So
written
I
on the
don't know if
ground.
you know, if
I
you
keep
watch a
going.
lot of
Gamma is asked
gaming
what's written on the
streams,
ground, and they
but
reply,
one of my favorite
"I don't
content
know."
creators and
Something
a good
like,
buddy of
"She comes at
mine
night."
that I love very
I
much.
walk along this path.
His name is Bear
It starts to
Taffy.
curve to the right.
I'm
I keep
going to
walking,
make
and it keeps
him
curving harder and harder to
an
the right,
amigurumi
until I
of
realize I'm
his
going in.
logo, which is a teddy
It's not a
bear,
circle.
only I'm going to make it as a ghost
More like
because
a
I always do
spiral.
creepy
I
crochet.
was spiraling towards
So it's going to
something.
be Bear Taffy,
The
but
path
as
is
a
starting to
ghost,
slope
and I'm
down.
going to send it to
It's
him.
like I'm on autopilot.
Don't tell him.
I can't stop.
Nobody has told him
What
yet.
happens then? Voodoo asks.
I'm so excited to do
I reach the
it.
end of the path, Gamma answers. There's stairs. They lead
I
down.
can't wait. I hope he
spiraling
likes
down
it.
into the
I'm gonna
ground.
feel really, really
I look
dumb if
down
he
and I
like
can't
doesn't
see the
like
bottom.
it.
It's too far. I go down the stairs. Something's watching, and I don't know. Something's watching me. Something's waiting for me at the bottom. But I can't stop. I start going faster and faster, and then I reach the bottom. There's a pit. There's light coming from the pit. I look
Now
down.
you have to look him up, Bear Taffy. Except for the
Yeah.
A and E
Voodoo
in
has-
Bear are switched. He
You can
switched it.
tell
It's
us,
BAER Taffy.
It's all right.
He's
Gamma
amazing.
continues.
I love him so much. He's such
It-
a wholesome boy.
Something
He also
wakes
raps,
back up.
and it's sick as
That's
hell.
when I wake up. Wake up screaming.
He's just the
Yeah,
greatest.
Voodoo repeats.
I adore him, and
I
his
don't
wife
know,
is
Gamma
amazing.
says. Can we stop? I don't like talking about this. We shouldn't be talking about this. The trio agree to take a break, and the interview
He's
concludes.
really, really into
The
Darkest
next
Dungeon
document
2
from
right now.
2005 is a transcript with images from
So
the
if you're
Betamax
into
tape.
that, that's
It's
what
been
that's what
labeled
he's been
Home
playing
Movie,
lately.
3/8/1983.
He's the best.
video
I have an
begins with a
old
title screen that
Don't
lasts for
Starve
12
Together
seconds.
series with him.
This is where she
We also
appears
played-
in the dark of night. The camera is
Golly,
focused on a
the
path
game was
extending into the
called
forest, which
Final
curves to the
Exam.
right. Graffiti is visible at the bottom of the frame.
We played
It
Final
reads,
Exam,
This is where
together.
she appears in the dark of night.
and that was fun.
The camera begins to move forward, following the path for 3 minutes. The next 5 minutes are obscured by static. The static clears. The camera is focused on a stone staircase that spirals into the earth. 35 seconds pass as it focuses on the view below. The bottom cannot be seen. The
That's
camera
really
slowly
cool, Bungie
descends
Fox.
the staircase. The camera stops descending and turns up to face
What
the
are you doing
entrance.
wrong? No spaces,
Approximately
James.
20 seconds are spent focused on the entrance. Abruptly, the camera turns back to the stairs
Get
and
rid of all the
proceeds to rapidly
spaces
descend.
and do it
Heavy
again.
breathing is now audible. The camera's erratic movements indicate running. A brief shot of the stairway is visible. The bottom still cannot be seen. Heavy breathing continues. In addition, there is now a muffled rumbling sound. The
Yeah,
next
that's
10
what I'm
minutes
going
are
to turn
obscured by
that into
static.
an amigurumi, but
The
as a
static
ghost.
clears. The camera is now moving
I'm
significantly
so
slower,
excited. I
maintaining
really
a
hope
steady
he likes it.
pace.
I'm gonna feel so
A
fucking
loud
dumb
rhythmic
if he
sound
doesn't.
reminiscent of large machines grinding is heard. The camera pauses to briefly look down the staircase. The bottom still cannot be seen. The next 30 minutes are obscured by static. When the static clears, the camera is focused on the edge of a stone railing. Beyond it, there is a pit with a bright, glowing light coming from below.
That's 6.
The
We do
rhythmic
not do
sound of
7.
metallic
1,
grinding
2,
continues.
3, 4, 5, 6.
The camera approaches the edge of the railing with caution, slowly angling down. The metallic grinding grows louder. The remaining 7 minutes are
Nick
obscured
has
by
such a
static.
pleasant voice.
According to the report, as part of the agreement between the Foundation and the GOC, the Foundation was permitted to interview a former GOC operative, Jennifer Selwick, who had been part of the assessment team assigned to investigate SCP-3117. Dr. Jenner was the interviewer and began by asking what Operative Selwick could share about SCP-3117. She said, "You've got all our files on it. What do you want me to tell you?" "The files don't paint the whole picture," Dr. Jenner answers. "Several of them are incomplete and show signs of damage. That's probably on account of my team destroying as much of it as we could," Selwick comments. "May I ask why?"
You said you were going to start that
No,
after this
Selwick
current pattern.
replies.
We're going to do probably the
Dr.
market
Jenner
bag
asks if they were
next.
cognitohazardous, and Selwick says they weren't dangerous themselves.
Candy Wally,
directly.
welcome. Everybody make
When
sure
asked
to
to
make
elaborate
Candy
on
Wally
this,
feel
Selwick
welcome.
states,
We are doing,
3117,
it's called the Ballerina
it isn't
top,
whatever
and
you
if you
think
do
it is.
tilde,
There's
like
a
the
reason the
squiggly
GOC stopped
tilde,
looking into it and threw everything I did to
pattern
destroy
in
over to
chat,
you guys.
yeah, there you go.
We've
That'll
been
take
investigating
you
this thing for
to
maybe
the
10,
finished
20
object
years,
and the
it's
pattern
eaten its
because it's a
way
free
through a lot of
pattern,
people.
so if you
Some
want to
of our
make it
best,
yourself, you can.
Some of our brightest. Yeah.
If not, this one's
We
going in the
originally
shop.
thought it was
This is
some
the
sort of
size
entity, maybe a
large
type green or
or
type
extra
blue,
large,
but
maybe. It's like 36-ish inches
No, it's nothing
around
like
the
that.
waist.
It's not even a monster, I don't think.
And
it's just
it is beautiful.
it's just
so
a
far,
trap.
I'm really excited.
a monster-shaped hole.
This is
You try to work it out.
some of
because
my
that's what
best
you do when you're
work.
clever. You work things out. But with every piece you find, you're filling that hole up. You're reassembling a puzzle of your own creation when you didn't
it
even
is
know
full
you were
on.
solving.
This top is
until
full on tension porn. The
the
tension that
silence
I
goes on
have
long enough for Dr.
is
Jenner to speak up.
beautiful. Like
Until what?
I can't believe it looks
Until the
professional. It
hole
looks
isn't
machine
a
made.
hole
I'm
anymore,
really
Selwick
proud of
answers.
it.
Until it's staring back up at you. We think we tell each other scary stories for fun, but maybe there's another reason. I think some of these stories, when we tell them, they're not meant to be thrilling. They're meant to be warnings. A warning to stop, to not open that door, to not go down the stairs, to stop watching the movie or listening to that story or reading that article. But you don't realize it. Not until it's too late. Not until... The silence, again, goes on for too long. "Jennifer?" Dr. Jenner asks. No response. "What's wrong?" Dr. Jenner urges. "It's too late," Selwick says. "What's too late?" "She's found you." "I'm sorry. She's found you." Dr. Jenner searches for a response in the confusion. "I don't... What?" "Don't think about it," Selwick demands. "Don't talk about it. Don't try to figure it out. When the dreams start to come, ignore them. Don't tell anyone. And whatever you do, don't look down.
Nine-tailed
Don't
Fox,
look
this
into
is
the pit.
NightMind's
She's found you. And if you keep trying to look, if you keep trying to solve it,
SCP
she's
vault?
going to... Stop, please.
So this
I
is just
don't
a bunch of
understand what
SCP
I'm not
material.
talking to you, Selwick shouts. The log ends. No further information is available on SCP-3117. I hope you've enjoyed our journey into the records of Creepy Stories Portal, and have gained a better understanding of why its neutralization was of the highest priority. Thank you to the Foundation doctors who helped me explore these records, all the authors of the records. No thanks to the an artists who created the stories that spawned them, of course. Thanks to all of you for viewing, and thanks to all the supporters on Patreon, who make October on NightMind possible and empower the NightMind Index for new and undiscovered nonfiction projects. If you'd like to support the channel and the continuous effort of broadcasting new creators and artwork, please consider joining the NightMind Patreon. You can do so for as low as just $2 a month, and join all the creatures of the night whose names you'll see at the end of this video. And for all of you who are only just discovering SCP Vault and are craving more, I have good news. There are 5 other installments, each celebrating the theme
so
of the October they
SCP
appeared
stands
in.
for Secure,
You'll find
Contain,
these in the SCP
Protect.
Foundation Starter
It's like
Guide and
this
Welcome Tour in the SCP Vault
crowd-funded
playlist, which I provided a link
wiki
to in the video description below.
of
Feel free to enjoy these episodes
cryptids.
and previous October specials.
It's really
as well as
fun.
full
It's a
collection
big
playlist.
community where people do
That's
creative
all for
writing.
tonight's exploration of the Blood Drive. Once more, I'm Nick
It's really
Nocturne,
sick.
and
I
will see
highly
you
recommend
again
looking into
real
SCP
soon.
if you like kind of
Until our
creepy
next
stuff.
October
There's
evening
some
together,
fun and
stay
silly
safe out
ones
there.
too.
Keep an eye out for anything unusual.
Yeah,
And
community created
sleep
creepypastas for sure, all revolving around cryptids. It's pretty great. I highly recommend delving into it. My chat knows so much more about it than I do. Okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. God, I thought that we would be able to get to the end of this row, but we can't. So I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to call it. It is time for us to end. So we can come to coffee screen. Thank you all so much for joining me today. We got a bunch of new follows, a bunch of new subs. I appreciate it so much. A ton of bits. All of the support was just amazing. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. Also, yesterday, hello, what the fuck just happened? Stop.
Welcome back to Cabin Fever Dreams.
Sorry, guys. Fuck, I was in the middle of my spiel and now I'm lost. Dang it. Thank you for all of your support. Oh, yeah, last time there was a donation and I didn't the alerts were broken. So I tried to fix them and then we had double alerts and I don't know what's going on with that. I'm so sorry. I will take either tomorrow or the next day off and I will fix that. I'm going to get to the bottom of the alerts and we're going to fix them once and for all. And I'll add some fun new ones. If you're not following already, I would love if you would. If you enjoyed the stream anyway. If you didn't, if you're not going to be back, please don't worry about it. I wouldn't want to ask you to come back if you didn't have a good time. A real huge hearty shout out to all of my patrons. I have 4 of them over on patreon.com/ZER0DOXY. If you want to take a look at it, you will have access to my shop a full day before anybody else does. If you are a patron, you will get a day heads up before anybody else. The shop is stocked. Thank you so much to Big Wolf Paws, to Quinn Kenobi, to Laura Cody, and to Katie Bailey. I appreciate it so much. You guys are amazing. We're thinking about adding a movie night to the mix. So if that's something that interests you, get on Patreon and tell me about it. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/ZER0DOXY. And please join the Discord. It is free. You can suggest creepy content for me. You can suggest patterns to me. And you can suggest yarn and stuff. I still haven't reached out to any yarn companies to see if we could do any coupon codes or anything like that. But I assure you that I will get to that as soon as our personal life stops being just a chock full of stressful shit that we have to do. That's going to do it for us today. I will see you either tomorrow or the next day, depending on which day I decide to take off to do the stuff. Fanny is cool. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. I'm gonna kick y'all over to another stream. I would like it if y'all could get super active in Twitch chat here so that we could have a fucking girthy ass raid. The Mamma Mia, the big one. That would make me so happy. So tell me what your favorite weather is in chat. Tell me what your favorite weather is. Yeah, that's a good one. Tell me it.